morning.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Welcome to the home of hard truths and bold insights, Radio Generation.
A very good morning to you and welcome to Radio Generation. The time right now is 1 minute past 6 o'clock. My name is Mung'ala Mbuvi and I'm with my very good friend City Muga. You are getting us on 88.8 FM in Nairobi and 90.7 in Mombasa. Karibu tena sana watu wa Mombasa, kama ndio umenisikia mara ya kwanza, nataka nikuambia kwamba tunawapenda tena sana. It is the 10th day of September 2025 and a lot of things are happening in the country, by the way, and all over the world. Now, one day of significance, or rather something of significance, is the fact that today the United Nations is observing World Suicide Prevention Day. All right, that is September 10th, 2025. CT, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Paul Mung'ala Mbuvi.
Yes, like I was telling you earlier on, the UN is observing World, Suicide Prevention Day. And suicide has been a pain in the Tushi for a lot of communities all over the world. In Japan, do you know there's actually a forest that people have dedicated to, unaliving themselves? In forest, but Japan. It's not official, of course. It's not like the government has said if you want to finish yourself, go to Karura. Yeah, but people tend to go to that particular forest. Why? I have no idea. But anyway, UN World Suicide Prevention Day.
You know something?
Yes.
The reasons why people want to end their lives and strong reasons why they would even attempt to. There are certain cultural norms.
Yeah.
In Japan, it is said that among the Japanese there's a code of honor.
Yes.
And it is embedded in many things. The way you conduct yourself before the people.
Right.
The things that you do that may influence the view people have of yourself and your family. Your performance at school or at work.
Yep.
Now, when your performance falls below a certain par, then it is considered advisable for you to off yourself, as you said.
Right.
Now, one of the things that is, however, connected with suicides, especially among young people, is activities, events, and situations that bring about depression.
Right.
So somebody has difficulties facing themselves and facing life around them, so they decide that it is best for them not to be alive.
Right.
Now, it's the reasons why people tend to words suicide that must be looked at. The triggers, the things that set them off, the ecosystem within which one can cultivate the thoughts and the feelings and the emotions, and finally the decision to commit suicide.
Yeah. For
the UN to declare it, it means it has been seen as something that is actually problematic.
Right. And actually, this is what they say about the day, that the purpose of this day aims to increase awareness and understanding of suicide and to prevent its occurrence. The day promotes concrete actions to prevent suicide and reduce the stigma surrounding mental health issues. Mental health issues, a big deal that leads people to suicide. So we need to check on that, and especially in our communities here in Kenya, that is something that we need to focus on, because we know of instances where people have actually committed suicide. And if we look at the main cause, which again the UN has pointed out to be mental health issues, sometimes people even abuse drugs to the point of death. They use alcohol to the point of death. I'm not saying that is suicide, but it can be considered suicide.
It is. But remember, when you talk of drugs, alcohol is a drug.
It is.
And these are mind-altering drugs. Anything that gives you a high will also bring about a low.
True.
When someone is on a high, they don't want to commit suicide. When they're on a low,
that is when now the thought creeps in.
Yes. You need to know about the hormones that you set in motion. For instance, when you exercise and you're feeling good, the feel-good factor hormones. Okay. Now, when you heighten them artificially using drugs, a point will come when a low ebb will be reached. Now, that is probably will bring about the onset of feeling bad, which will lead to depressive thoughts. Someone is feeling low, as they say. And when it continues, either someone will try to drown out these feelings. That's where now the consumption, a great deal of consumption of drugs comes in. Or at some point they'll give up. Now, there's an African proverb about this that I really found Simple but to the point.
Okay.
When death finds you, may it find you alive.
I never thought I'd laugh about a joke about death. Eh?
When death finds you, may it find you alive. It is an interesting proverb, and it's nuanced in very many truths.
I don't know whether it's a book I was reading, or a movie I was watching, or a series, or whatever. But someone once said in that instance that I'm talking about, that the consequence of life is actually death.
Yes, it is. It's the one thing you're certain of. If you're alive, there are many things. You don't know whether you'll be rich, poor, you'll have children. You don't know any of these things.
But death, you're certain.
Guarantee you're going to die.
Yeah. I was at a funeral, my niece's funeral, and the pastor who was preaching in that funeral said that si kila mtu atakufa. History ya vinyatu nasema ngati hii ni barabara yetu sisi wote. Alikuwa anasema bwana, ile siku Yesu atakuja tutakuwa live. I was like, okay. I don't know much about the Bible, but you know what else I know? Is that Kenya beat Seychelles yesterday 5-0. Did you watch this game? City Muga?
I told you before, I don't watch TV. You thought I was joking, isn't it?
No. You might not watch TV, but you can watch football, and you can watch it online. You can watch it.
I don't watch football.
Okay.
Look, I said that abruptly.
Yes.
It is not a bad thing. I actually like football.
It's just that you're not interested in.
I actually love soccer, and if I'm sitting somewhere and the game is on, I will actually be.
Marayoyo.
Yes, I will watch that game, and I'll even ask what's happening. So, but taking the time to watch it is what I don't do.
Haya.
Right.
Sasa Kenya jana wametandika Seychelles 5-0.
Okay.
Which was expected because Seychelles.
What were we competing over?
So this is World Cup qualifiers. We are competing to see who will qualify to play in the World Cup next year.
And how many people do we need to beat?
To be honest, I do not know. I have a feeling we're already out of that competition. I'll confirm later. However, big shout out to our first goal, which was scored by one Wesley Ogam. Alifanya kazi safi sana. Wesley Ogam actually scored in every other game that we played in Chan.
That fella's good, eh?
Yeah, he's really good. He's amazing. Someone else, I was actually hoping that he would score, and he did. Kwanza 2 goals, one of them was a penalty, is none other than Michael Olunga. But unajua wakati wa Chan, he was nowhere to be seen.
Land up.
I don't know. Me nilimwona kwa line up jana, I was like, yeah, Michael Olunga still plays for Kenya. So big shout out to Michael Olunga. He scored a penalty at 45 minutes. And then he scored another one at 67 minutes. Now that was a penalty. Then the other one was just a goal. And also a big shout out to Collins Sichenje. He scored our second goal, and then Ogam scored our third goal. Michael Olunga did our 4th and 5th goals. So big shout out to those individuals for making us proud. I'll find out if we are still in this competition, and if anyone is listening to me and you understand football, can you tell us if we are still in this competition? If we are still in the run up to play, or rather to compete against the other teams, and probably even play in the World Cup come next year. Sasa, that is that. So big shout out to our Kenyan team, and for the Patriots who went to the stadium yesterday, Moi International Sports Center, mkatokezea pale kwa wingi na mkaenda mkawatch game. Now I was looking at some clips, CT, and there's a guy who was hanging from one of the one of the
rails.
The rails, yes, in the stadium, and he was hanging dangerously, precariously. Yes, huyu jamaa angeanguka, sijui tungekuwa tunasema nini saizi. But anyway, guys, if you're gonna go to the stadium, please, can you be sober? And be sober the entire game. And when I say sober, I just don't mean don't take alcohol. I mean hizi vitu zingine mnavutanga muachane nazo, because this is cray. Now I'm being told, nimeona hapa kuna kitu imepop up na imepotea tena. I think our producer has actually texted me something in regards to our football. So she has said that Chan only calls non-professional players. That is why Oluga Hakua, only 2 teams qualifying, and it will be hard for us to book a slot. Whoa, yeah. Thank you so much, Ednah, for that particular update. City, umetuambia juu ya methali, wacha tuingie pale mahali panaitwa rgk.co.ke. If you're joining us for the first time, First of all, welcome to Radio Generation. We have an amazing website that is rgk.co.ke. That is where you'll find all the top stories making headlines, not just in Kenya, but all over the world, including what we've just read about Chan and the, not just Chan, but the World Cup qualifying games. You can find them all on our website. You can also get to see our very handsome faces. If you are interested in that, you can check them out. You can also find us on YouTube. That is www.youtube.com, and our channel name is Radio Generation Kenya. Sawa. We're also live, by the way, on Twitter. That is at Radio Gen KE. You can find us there. Utatuona pia live. So no matter what platform you like, Facebook, Radio Generation Kenya, we're also live on that particular platform. So if you're scrolling through Facebook, please, why don't you find our channel, follow, like, and make sure that you share it to your friends so that we can get this amazing content. I'll see you on TikTok, Radio Gen KE as well. We are also on X, Radio Gen KE. Hapo ndipo utatupata. Sawa. Kwanza na rgk.co.ke and see what's happening there. There's this breaking news that broke yesterday at around 7:30. There is an Nairobi lawyer who was shot dead in traffic sehemu za Karen. He was heading towards Ongata Rongai, that is Magadi Road. He goes by the name of Chalo Mbobu. Yeah, so let me read this story that was written by our very own, this is Tanya Wanjiko. Oh yes. So Tanya amesema hivi. A Nairobi-based lawyer, Matthew Chalo Mbobu, was shot dead in his car on Tuesday evening while driving from work along Magadi Road in Karen, Nairobi. Witnesses and police said that the attack occurred during a traffic jam carried out by gunmen on a motorcycle. Mbobu, a former chairman of the Political Parties Disputes Tribunal and a lecturer at Multimedia University, was targeted less than a kilometer from the Galleria Mall. Police reported that the assailants shattered his car window before firing at least 3 bullets into his chin. His body was found slumped on the driver's seat as officers rushed to the scene. The gunmen escaped immediately after the attack, and investigations are ongoing to identify and apprehend them. Police confirmed that the incident is being treated as a targeted killing, but further details on the motive or suspects have not yet been released. Yeah. City Muga. So this lawyer, was a lecturer at Multimedia University. I also understand he was a lecturer at University of Nairobi. I don't know whether currently or before he was a lecturer at Multimedia. But yes, he taught law at University of Nairobi. Tumesikia he's a former chairman of the Political Parties Dispute Tribunal. And there's a lot of stories going around as to why he might have been targeted by the individuals that targeted him. Mimi na my layman's thinking, I was saying the only thing that can make someone get shot in broad daylight like that, or rather in the streets like that, is either uko na pesa ya mtu, uliiba hiyo pesa, ama ukanyang'anya mtu hiyo pesa, ama akakukopesha na ukakataa kumlipa, kalala na bibi ya wenyewe, kalala na girlfriend ya wenyewe, ama sijui. Because I mean, what else can make someone just shoot you in broad daylight, or rather in the streets of Nairobi like this?
You see, to even assume to understand what happened is to assume you know that person's life.
Yeah.
The details of that life.
True.
We don't. What's in the public domain is usually just a scratch of the surface of our lives. So the way these things work, there is something about this person's life that will then come to light. Because this story will not end with his death. The story of his life will begin with his death. We'll now get to hear a lot about this person that we didn't know.
Yeah.
Once investigative journalists go into it, and DCI also gives us the snippets they give us, we'll have a clear understanding of what all this is about, because people don't just get shot.
Yeah.
Unless you're saying it was a mistaken identity. There was somebody else they were targeting, and unfortunately you look like that person. But in the absence of that...
You mean like mistaken identity?
That one.
Yeah.
If it isn't that, then the reasons why a person will be shot in broad daylight, that one, let's wait and hear, because it gets to the heart of the life of that person, and we do not know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
What that person was all about.
Yeah,
so
true.
Let's wait and see. Yes.
But again, you say I like watching movies, and I do like watching movies.
Of course you like watching movies.
I love movies. But I was just, again, using my movie-oriented mind.
Yes, that is when you're not watching a football movie.
And I'm not on a football match.
Yes.
So when I'm not watching Kenya versus Seychelles, I am actually interested in just watching movies, and because they're interesting and they make you think and look at life from a different perspective. And I was just saying, because nikikaa hivi niseme mimi nimekosana na wanaume wengi sana. Nimekosana na wanaume wengi sana, and one of the reasons ninaweza kosana na mwanaume ni pesa tu. Ama wanawake. Pesa na wanawake.
Why money?
Because City, let's assume we do a deal together. Probably have a project, we are selling a piece of land. And we are both brokers in this particular piece of land. And then this piece of land, our commission is supposed to be something close even to 100 million. City, I received that 100 million and I'm supposed to split with you 50 million. I give you 50 million, I keep 50 million. Then I don't give you that 50M. You tell me if you're gonna look at me and say, Mbuvi, you got 50 million yangu. And you just breathe normally and be okay with it. Highly doubt.
Why would I not breathe normally with it?
No. You know what I mean.
I do know, and that's why I'm asking you, why should I not? I mean, if...
Utanikasirikia, utanipeleka kotini?
No.
Listen, ni ukweli City. Utanipeleka kotini. If it was a legit business transaction.
It can only be legit if I'm going to take you to court. If it's illegit, is when the scenario you're painting comes into being.
Exactly.
Because I will now take the law in my hands.
Exactly.
All right?
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I would not bother.
To take the law in your hands?
I would not bother.
City, you're used to transacting and then holding 50 million. Eh?
I would not bother, not because of
City,
the amount.
Are you used to having 50 million just...
I would not bother for a very simple reason. I do not see the gains. If there's a way in which I can get my money in the same manner and processes that we agreed on, then I will pursue it.
Yeah.
But something will cause you harm. No.
No, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I will kill you either, but I'm just saying I'll be very stressed over it.
Why would you kill me than who owes me money?
I'm not saying if it were me that umeniosha, mimi ndio umetotoka na pesa yangu, of course sitakuwa, but City nitakasirika vibaya sana.
I'm trying to explain
to you.
Na
najua ndakula stress siku nyingi sana.
I'm trying to explain to you.
Because I will be imagining yani 50 million. Yani City amekatana 50 million yangu.
It actually isn't the 50 million. You will see the things you wanted to do the 50 million disappearing.
Exactly.
Because you will have foreseen it, planned it, in your head, in your mind, in your being, you had actualized it.
Yeah.
Now, realizing it can't be actualized, that's where now all these evil thoughts come in.
Yeah, true.
And the idea of sending you into the afterlife becomes a reality. Now, you asked about myself, and I'm saying I would not bother.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So,
money?
Yes.
No.
Ile ingine tulikuwa tunasema ni or rather nilikuwa nasema ni wanawake or rather mwanamke. So I find
why would I bother?
I find you've been sleeping with my wife. I didn't know, I just found out. And then I find that even maybe our last 2 children are not mine, they are yours. You tell me the kind of anger I would be having. Of course, again, let me make it very clear.
It's hypothetical.
I won't unalive you, but I'll be very...
Look, when you hear of crimes of passion, they arise out of a scenario such as the one you've described.
Exactly.
But a scenario where you have a wife and she decides to sleep with somebody else, that scenario tells you volumes.
Yeah.
Okay? And you must pause, even if you're going to get angry and disappointed, whatever emotions are going to run through your head, and analyze. Did that person forcibly sleep with your wife? The answer would probably no.
Was it consensual?
Yes. Then it tells you your wife has an affinity towards that person.
Yeah.
So now, this is now the moment of truth, of reckoning. You then have to decide what you want to do. Okay? Now, it isn't as though that's what's going to come to your head. There will be an emotional turmoil in your system, and very many thoughts will go through your mind.
Yeah.
Okay? Some will be causing extreme harm to this individual.
Yeah.
But when you've let a little air into it, I have a friend of mine called Joa Wimbo, who used to say, you must let air get into things. You just let air get into it. And then you start breathing easy.
Yeah.
And once that has happened, you will realize that lady has made a choice.
Yeah.
And you're not it. Okay? Now, once that has been arrived at, with all the emotions running through your system, you must decide what you're going to do. Yes. Because clearly a choice has been made. And if you say they're children even, then there's evidence as to the choice. Yeah. So, unavutania nini?
I told you I was a victim of such a situation, and I let things breathe, and I moved on, and here we are today.
So you're alive and well?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's important.
But I went through a very serious process of...
No, it's harrowing.
Yeah.
It's harrowing because you see the thing again, as human beings, it speaks to you, and it speaks to the suggested inadequacies that you have. It's not something that is pleasant. It can't be pleasant.
Yeah.
But what I sometimes marvel at, when we talk about this as men,
yes,
we talk about our emotions and feelings.
Right.
Do we ever consider what women feel when we cheat on them?
I don't know about the rest of the world, but I know I would consider.
Do we genuinely consider what they feel? Because you see, these things we're discussing here as men, you think women don't feel the same thing, if not worse? They do.
They probably feel worse,
yes, exactly. And then they put up with it.
Women are very fragile.
Actually, on the contrary, we are the ones who are fragile. Women are a lot tougher than we are. Oh, yes, infinitely tougher. Women put up with a heck of a lot of nonsense from men, brother. And they're there, they're still hanging out with this guy, whom even us as men, we have probably looked at and declared, like, you and I.
Anyway, what are they called? LSK have called for the, probe into that particular issue, the death of that MP, not MP, the death of that lawyer. And they're asking the police to expedite that process. They need answers now. So let's hope that we shall get answers. On to another story here. National Police Service Commission warns public against fake police constable advertisements.
What?
Yes. National Police Service Commission warns the public against fake police constable advertisements. So nakumbuka hii story tumekuwa tukiongelea for the last almost 1 month now. So the National Police Service Commission has alerted Kenyans about counterfeit police recruitment notices being shared on social media. The commission clarified that no openings for police constables have been formally announced. NPSC chairperson Amani Yuda Komora said the official recruitment process is still being prepared and will be communicated through proper channels. Komora urged the public to disregard the fake advert, which redirected applicants to an unauthorized online link. The commission advises members of the public to remain vigilant and disregard any misinformation intended to mislead and exploit unsuspecting applicants. Yeah. All right. That's not a big deal. They're just telling us to be vigilant. There may be a fake advertisement there. Then you go click on a link online. They either get money from you or they extract your personal details, and God knows what they will do with that. Sindio? Governor Wavinya suspends 33 revenue officers over alleged corruption. I usually see such headlines from specific individuals, and I just wanna laugh about it. Anyway, this one is by our very own Abonyo David. Abonyo ameandika hivi: Machakos County Governor Wavinya Ndeti has suspended 33 revenue officers over alleged graft, associating them with underreporting collected fees, diverting funds, and issuing fake receipts and permits. The suspension comes amid rising concerns about fraudulent activities in Machakos County, prompting the governor to take action to eradicate graft in the county's operations. Speaking during a press briefing on Tuesday, Wavinya described corruption as a cancer eating into the core of service delivery, emphasizing that her administration will leave no stone unturned in holding every wrongdoer accountable. She added that some public servants in Machakos County continue to collude with unscrupulous individuals to con residents despite heavy investment in digital revenue collection. Sasa mmesikia governor wa Macha amesemaje? Kama ukipatikana unafanya vitu chini ya maji, corruption nini, wewe kwisha. They will deal with you sacafoniously. There's another story here. Olenado resigns as member of Wakf Commissioner's recruitment panel. A key member of the panel tasked with recruiting commissioners for the Wakf Commission formally resigned on Tuesday. Alhaji Hassan Kirua Olenado cited frustrations over prolonged delays and lack of progress in the appointment process. He was one of the 5 individuals appointed in March to the selection panel gazetted by Attorney General Dorcas Oduor to oversee the recruitment of members of the Wakf Commission. The commission is a key institution mandated to manage Islamic endowments, safeguard the administration of charitable assets, and resolve long-standing legal challenges that have hampered its effectiveness. Yeah. I like such leadership. Kama vitu hazifanyiki bana, wewe ondokea. That's what I consider to be integrity. Yeah? Yeah. Umeguza ako kakini tena kakazima mic yako. Kaguze tu tena. There we go. So, what do you think about this resignation?
Well, you see, the thing is, when someone cites frustrations and the length of time it takes for certain things to happen,
yeah,
once again, that's the tip of the iceberg.
It's something else.
Yes, there always is.
It's deep.
There always is. There always is. Because you want to ask this commission that was being set up, what was purpose for, and why. When it is set up, there's a need. At least allegedly there is one. And then when nothing is done about it, you have to ask, so are we saying that the needs that existed have now disappeared? And then all of a sudden now we're looking at something completely different? I don't think that is the case, really.
Yeah.
So why he actually resigned and why he got to the point of resigning, because there was the option of continuing to wait. Now, what he cites as his reasons, we will say, yes, that's what he has said. But I'm sure there's a lot else that was happening besides what he has just said. Yes, that's my point, really.
Right. Sorry here. Let's take a worldview look here. Mastermind behind Somalia president assassination attempt killed in airstrike. Okay. The Somalia National Intelligence and Security Agency, NISA, has confirmed that a militant believed to have masterminded an assassination attempt on President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud earlier this year has been killed in a targeted airstrike. The attack in March led heightened concerns about the insurgents' reach and the president's challenges facing Somalia's security apparatus, underscoring Al-Shabaab's ability to strike at the highest level of Somalia leadership. NISA announced that Mohamed Abdi Delbawa Afrax I had to do that. A senior Al-Shabaab commander, also known by several aliases, including Khalid Dia Oriz Dere, Khalid Dakas, Makalin Sisid, Timo Jilak, and Mohammed Sahal, was killed on Tuesday in the lower Shabelle region. Shabelle, I'll say Shabelle region. So anyway, someone attempted to kill the president of Somalia, and now they are no longer breathing.
So they say.
Huh?
Yeah, so they say. You know, an attempt is as good as the declaration of it.
True.
Was he shot at? Did they try to poison him?
Yeah.
This attempt, what shape and form did it take? We are being told about it. Or someone has been killed with God knows how many aliases, and we're suddenly being told he was the mastermind. You know, I wouldn't know, would I? Yes.
Because they're saying here, down further the conversation, they're saying President Mohammed survived the attempt unharmed. Somali authorities said the assault was carefully planned with the intent of assassinating the head of state. So if it's an assault, I'm assuming it was something physical, like they wanted to.
You know, there's the story of Somalia is one of the. It encapsulates the tragedies of our continent.
Yeah.
This was a thriving nation.
Yeah.
Thriving. The education system functioned. They had a function. You know this blue economy thing that we keep talking about?
Yes.
They had it. They even had processing plants for seafood. They had manufacturing. They had factories that produced food.
Yeah.
Some you could even export. They're the equivalent of what we call Kenya Meat Commission.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somalia Meat Commission, maybe.
Oh, they did. They did. They actually had industries. We're talking about the 70s.
Then what?
94.
Yeah.
The guy called Said Barre. You know that Horn of Africa. You look at Somalia, look at Ethiopia.
Yes.
And you look at some of the things that they represented in terms of just development that you can look at and say the continent was definitely thriving and developing.
Yeah.
My friend.
Yeah.
That one. When one takes the position that they are conspiracy theorists I say, hooray to you.
Yeah.
You know why? There are so many things that happen that we don't understand. There are narratives that we hear and we believe them because they are the only narrative or they're the dominant narrative that we hear, all right? But one of the things that comes out in this information age, because we are privy to a lot more information than we were before, is that there's always a struggle for dominance and control.
Yeah.
Okay? And those who have more power always try to dominate others. They may not colonize you directly, but they try to dominate you.
Yeah.
Either by giving you the impression that they're assisting you so that you're dependent on them. Again, it's dominance. Or the olden days, before the Cold War, after the Cold War, it was far more destructive. They just make sure that among yourselves you fight, and narrative is created that you are an unstable people who can never even sustain something as simple as a government.
Yeah.
And yet all that was engineered and it was actually promoted and it was energized by certain people. So when I look at Somalia and the problems it has, it saddens me because that was a thriving African nation.
Because even when they're outside Somalia, look at them in the UK, look at them in Kenya, look at them in the US.
Yes, a diaspora.
Yes.
An enterprising people.
But I'm actually telling people where they can actually go and just check. If you want to just find Somali community, just go and look for them, even on YouTube. Look at the Somali community in the US. Those guys are thriving. Look at the Somali community in places like Sweden, the UK. Those people, they are thriving and they're thriving properly. It's a sad state of affairs what is happening in their homeland.
You see, I'm going to talk about the region that we belong to and that we're familiar with, right? Look at the Ethiopians.
Yeah.
They had an emperor. That country had issues because of that state that it had. It was more or less a feudal state. But the human resource factor was profound. If you look at Kenyans in the diaspora, the impact, profound. Somalis, profound. Ethiopians, profound.
Yeah.
Okay? Right now, Ethiopia has the second largest population on this continent after Nigeria. Egypt is third. It's a powerhouse. The point I'm trying to make is that you will find that any attempt that these nations have to work together and have some commonality in terms of their trade will always be interfered with, because when they do work and it's a seamless working, they become a very serious powerhouse.
Yeah.
If you look at the population of East and Central Africa, it represents a market. If that market is made cohesive, it becomes a really powerful tool.
Yeah.
And then if you look at just the natural resources that are within that particular geographical enclave, it's again massive. And it also enables you to have the sort of bargaining power that ordinarily you wouldn't have.
Yeah.
So when I say I lament, every time I hear stories of Somalia, it's with reason. It is something that is disheartening when you find people are disagreeing over something they don't even need to disagree.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's really sad. And some of the most genuine friends I have are Somalis. I just don't understand what is happening in their country.
It's so difficult to understand.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Let's do a little bit of traffic.
Traffic.
Barabara zenye zinakaa hivi. I can tell you for a fact that General Wariungi Road is very green right now. You can literally cruise at 140 kilometers, but please don't, because you will get to the very end of that road in like literally a minute or less. So take it slowly. Ring Road, Ngara, mnakaa sawa sawa, no complaints coming from that particular road. A little bit of traffic though at the intersection of Juja Road and Ring Road, Ngara. Hapo tu ndio kuna shida, lakini na nika kitu kadogo sana, maybe about 10 meters stretch of traffic, but that's because you're literally getting into the intersection. After that, you're all moving well. Usual place, Muthaiga pale Pangani, bumper to bumper, and we know why. Everyone is coming in from Kiambu Road, coming in from huku kwingine kunaitwa Jesave, na lazima mtapatana hapa hivyo mcause traffic. But if you give each other way and you're patient, you will definitely make it through. Going up the road, still on Thika Super Highway, there's traffic as you're approaching Garden City Mall. From this hotel, Safari Park Hotel, there's a little bit of traffic. Actually, not a little bit of traffic. It's literally red. Why that is so, I don't know. Shida iko wapi kwa hiyo barabara, and yet there are no junctions on that road. So could there be an accident, or is it because of the matatu stage at Garden City Perhaps that's a reason. But after that, you're moving well. Going a bit further back again, traffic on the same road. This is from Githurai, all the way to hapa ni wapi? Kasarani. Actually past Kasarani. Mko na shida hapo. Poleni tena sana. But the rest of the roads are looking good right now. Let me pinch it back and see. Ngong Road, no complaints. Eastern Bypass, no complaints. Mombasa Road, kama kawaida, no complaints whatsoever.
Traffic on Radio Generation.
Anything that you think we should know, please find us at Radio Gen KE. That's where you'll find our conversations going on our WhatsApp line as well. Why don't you highlight a brother? Niliwapatiwa number ya WhatsApp. I hope bado mko nayo. But in case hauna, this is the number. 0116-928-683. That is 0116-928-683. I'll give it to you again at the top of the hour, so see you sisumbuki kama hujaipata. But if you're watching us on YouTube, you can rewind and you can definitely get that number. Right now though, let's get into the newspaper. I'm looking at the Daily Nation front page, and this is what it says. Race against time. Ruto at 3 scorecard. So we have number 1, agriculture. This is what the Daily Nation are looking at. Transform 2 million poor farmers to surplus producers. I think this is a promise that was made by the president when he was campaigning. As far as housing is concerned, supply 250,000 new houses per year. How true that is, I don't know. Then we have healthcare, publicly funded primary healthcare and comprehensive insurance. Well, we know what is happening in the healthcare business. In education, bridge teacher shortage gap of 116,000 and raise school funds. They did employ 76,000 teachers sometime this year. So there's now what remaining? About 40,000 more teachers to go. Let's hope that happens. And then achieve two-thirds gender rule in public positions. That is one of the other agendas. Then as far as women are concerned, provide free sanitary towels in all schools and public washrooms. In all schools and public washrooms. Aye. Governance, establish public inquiry into state capture. Yeah, this one is a pipe dream, guys. Timely transfer of shareable revenue to counties. That is on devolution. We know that counties are always complaining every now and then. But we are counties, nyinyi mko na shida zenu. Kwanza hapo kwa Council of Governors. You get how can you refuse to be audited? Human rights and extrajudicial executions by security agencies. Do we need to comment on that? We all know how that goes. As far as roads are complete all roads under construction. And then there's create jobs and scrap harsh taxes and boost incomes. Yes, this was a promise made. Yeah, taxes, And then manufacturing, boost the manufacturing share of economy. Manufacturing, hakuna kitu wamefanya pande hiyo. City, what do you think about this?
What do I think about what exactly?
All these things that we've mentioned, all these 12 agendas that the Daily Nation has highlighted. So we have agriculture, housing, healthcare, education, gender, women, governance, devolution, human rights, roads, economy, manufacturing.
They're just telling us about what we need to be thinking about on a daily basis, highlighting it now. Let's contextualize it. Why is it being highlighted now? Is it that yesterday they were not an issue or last week they were not an issue? No. They are highlighting things that we need to be looking at on a daily basis, considering that, look, these things are a composite part of our daily lives.
Right.
And they need to be working seamlessly. Clearly, they are not. So let's consider and think how and what do we need to do in order to ensure that they work as they should. Because
they've said, with the general election less than 2 years away, President Ruto faces mounting pressure to deliver on the lofty promises in his party's manifesto while addressing grievances against his administration, including a deteriorating human rights record and runaway corruption. The clock is ticking. Well, you can get that story on page 5.
The clock is ticking. It's been ticking from day one.
Yeah.
It's just becoming more manifest now because people are speaking louder and louder, and the numbers of people speaking are more and more on the same subject matter. Okay, but the clock ticking, yes. You see, the discussion I would have is perhaps a discussion that involves the reality of our politics as opposed to the popularization of certain narratives within our politics. Okay? There is a narrative that Ruto must go. That's a narrative. One. There is a narrative that Mrima has been picked on. It's a narrative. There is a narrative that the broad-based government is failing the citizens. It's a narrative. There's a narrative that the Gen Z will make the changes that this country has wanted for the longest time. It is a narrative. While these narratives are being discussed and people are waxing eloquent on these subject matters, there are 5 million Kenyans who do not know what they're going to eat today, not tomorrow. There are people who had a job yesterday, today they do not have a job. There are people who had businesses yesterday, today they're thinking of closing. These are the things that should occupy our minds on a daily basis. There are parents whose children have qualified for university, and even with the reduced university fees, they cannot afford to pay their bit for the children to go to university. There are parents whose children are in primary school, and we were told the free primary school is done and dusted. So now they have to dig into their pockets, and they have to balance between feeding these children, should they fall ill, taking them to hospital, paying for SHA if they haven't paid for SHA, and paying the school fees. These, in my opinion, are pertinent issues. There are people who, when they seek health care, they haven't gotten SHA because they can't afford it. There are those who are in counties where, much as this is a devolved function, their counties, whichever they are, cannot provide the service that these individuals who are taxpayers or had been seek. So you find people moving across counties to go to counties which have organized themselves and can better provide some of these services. These, in my opinion, are the real issues. They are counties, they are cities, they are towns, they are shopping centers that have never seen running tap water. And yet we are a country that has more water than we know of. What were previously municipalities are now counties. Bylaws and statutes that they have regarding buildings. I know with the city, with the municipalities, it was mandatory for you to build a water harvesting system when you put up a house. Okay? So that when it rains, that water just doesn't drip and drain away.
It is harvested.
It is carrying with it the topsoil. I'm not sure that that is a basic requirement now. Now, all these things that are fundamental, they are not, you're not asking someone to take a trip just to Pemba, just so that they can live healthily on a daily basis. Farmers being able to feed themselves and to feed those who are closest to them. Basic things. In my mind, the narratives being what they are, these are the questions that I'd like to address on a daily basis because they involve the lives of the ordinary citizen of this country. Now, in the absence of that discussion, those who want to throw academic discussions at those topics, carry on.
All right. Umesema. Gachagua, 2027, Kingmaker or going for the crown? Stories on page 7. And then relief for teachers and civil servants on disputed allowance, page 10. Very quickly, on the Standard newspaper, Billionaires League, Hakiao. President William Ruto rode to power on promises of uplifting hustlers, touting the bottom-up model as a cure for the struggle of ordinary Kenyans. But 3 years into his team, he appears to have abandoned that philosophy while urging citizens to tighten their belts. He loosens the public purse for his own indulgence, spending 12 million on a private jet to Addis Ababa, with schools starved of capitation and counties unable to pay staff. His taste for billionaire luxuries lays bare a leadership that preaches sacrifice but practices extravagance. Yeah.
Isn't life interesting?
So there's a private jet here that has been pictured by the Standard newspaper. But then around that particular picture of that particular jet, we have photos of billionaires in the world. So we have, for example, Oprah Winfrey, media personality. We have the richest man in the world right now, Elon Musk. We have Bill Gates, another billionaire. We have Beyonce, a billionaire as well. And then we have social media mogul Mark Zuckerberg, the billionaire owner of Meta. Now America president wetu in the league of those billionaires. Have they really? Just a picture. Have they written and indicated that is in their league? Billionaires league. Yeah, but read the story. Bro, unajaribu tu kusema ya kwamba huyu jamaa anaishi maisha ya billionaires. Anaishi ama anajiweka? Anaishi maisha ya. No. Si wamesema hivyo, kwani tulikuwa tunasoma nini na wewe? Why don't you read it? Sasa nirudie tena. Yes. Sasa zingine siti unatakanga kunikula kichwa bure. President William Ruto rode on power on promises of uplifting hustlers, touting the bottom-up model as the cure for the struggles of ordinary Kenyans. With schools starved of capitation and counties unable to pay staff, his taste for billionaire luxuries lays bare a leadership that preaches sacrifice but practices extravagance. So wanasema anaishi maisha ya billionaire. Sawa bro?
You know, the reason I want you to repeat it is this, all these people you've mentioned, there is something that they do that have made them billionaires.
True.
You've invented something, you've invented a song, people have bought the song, they're listening to the song, there are royalties, okay? You do something, you provide a service that earns you the billions. So when you're in the billionaire club, one can trace where it is, the wealth that makes you a billionaire has come from. Okay?
Yes.
Right. The business of being president cannot make you a billionaire.
Okay.
It's not a business. It's supposed to be a service. And you're paid a salary. So it's not as though the more you become president, the more you earn. You are a civil servant and that salary is fixed. Okay? So when you say billionaire league, there should be an exclamation mark next to that particular headline. Is it really? And is this what people aspire to? Are they suggesting that our president is aspiring to be in that league at the cost of what we see and what I discussed earlier?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Can I do a quick search on the internet on the net worth of our president?
Go ahead.
Okay. What is the net worth of President William Ruto?
You're talking to your phone?
Yeah. It has that. Even yours has. But anyways.
How do you know? How do you know what my phone has and what my phone doesn't have?
I can tell you for a fact it has. So anyway, according to AI.
According to the phone you've just talked to.
Yes. This is what it says. William Ruto's net worth is not definitively public or officially confirmed, though he has made public statements and assets declarations claiming to have a net worth of billions of Kenyan shillings. His claims have varied over time, with figures including approximately 10 billion Kenyan shillings and later around 45 billion Kenyan shillings. But these are self-reported and not independently verified. Sasa bro.
Yeah. We don't know, in other words.
So he's a shilling billionaire.
Shilling billionaire.
Not a dollar billionaire. If we go with the 45 billion Kenya shillings, he's probably worth about 450 million US dollars. If we go with that figure.
He's worth how many millions of dollars?
450 million. Actually, no. If it's 45 billion, let's do that because the dollar has changed.
Why don't you just talk to your phone and ask it?
Yeah. 45 billion. Where is that billion mark? Yes, 45 billion Kenya shillings. We divide that. We divide that by 129 bob. Yeah, so he's worth 348 million US dollars.
So he's a multimillionaire.
He's a multimillionaire.
Okay.
In US dollars.
Yes.
But in Kenyan shillings, he's a billionaire.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, what's in your papers?
Let's look at the Star. Siaya teen among dozens to benefit from Kisumu brain and spinal surgeries. This is an interesting story on page 3. This is something that is going to take place at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Teaching and Referral Hospital, Kisumu. Okay? Now, the reason why this is a story is because there is a neuroscience initiative, a Kisumu Neuroscience Initiative. This particular camp has drawn specialists from the United States, and they have come specifically, okay, to work together with doctors who are attached to the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Teaching and Referral Hospital. I'm going to mention them by name. The neurosurgeon whom we're talking about, the leader from this group from the US, is called Dr. Bethwell Raore.
Yeah.
Okay, now, JORTH's doctor, there's Walter Adero, a fantastic man. I know the man dedicated to his work. Dr. Leo Gudha. These are the people who are offering these services to people who ordinarily could not afford.
Yeah.
And who are they? These are people who, over time, have been battling with certain diseases that required these delicate operations that up to now, one, they couldn't probably afford it, or they weren't readily available. And now they are going to be available. Okay?
Yes.
Report why sex work, Somali-like looks, and bar business puts you in police radar. This is a story on page 2. What they're saying is this.
You said Somali what?
There's a report
Uh-huh.
by a group called the Justice Mission.
Right.
The survey shows that what I've just mentioned are the easy money machines for police persons.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in sex work, you're in the pub business, and you look like a Somali.
Yeah.
Okay?
Uh-huh.
Which I take, in other words.
Right.
The police will target you.
So the author doesn't know that Somalis are Kushites.
I am reading what has been written here. Why are you behaving like me?
Aya, endelea.
You're imitating me badly. Okay. Right. How counties will share out 3.7 billion roads levy cash. Details have emerged of how counties share the 3.7 billion roads maintenance levy fund cash after protracted battle with Parliament. However, newly released data reveal how the counties own multi-billion shilling ambitions for their road network that would not be funded. And the story goes on. UN panel calls for vigilance by South Sudan neighbors. Us, we are some of those neighbors.
Okay.
UN member states have been urged to be vigilant with respect to the import of timber, gold, and charcoal from South Sudan. The recommendation by the UN panel of experts to the Security Council Committee on South Sudan comes in after it emerged that charcoal, gold, and oil are being laundered in the Horn of Africa, particularly through, guess what?
Kenya.
And?
Kenya, and there's another country that is helping them.
South Sudan neighbor. It's in East Africa.
Sudan?
Thank you. So, no, Sudan is, yes, correct.
Yeah.
South Sudan. No, you're right.
Yeah.
But they're at war, so this can take place.
Okay.
Uganda.
Yeah. But I wasn't going to be surprised if Uganda is actually doing this. I just didn't think they are helping smuggle because they are a landlocked country. So that it never actually crossed my mind. I was thinking Kenya is the main culprit.
Right. How LSK court move could hit MPs and 2027 aspirants hard. Story on page 4 and 5. Wants 6 agencies to enforce leadership and integrity laws. Remember that one we've been discussing on and off.
Mm-hmm.
If it's enforced, Pakistan people will not be able to vie because they have tainted records.
Yeah.
The sort of record that cannot stand clear in the bright glare of daylight and truth.
And that's why I think we need, I don't know if it's a judge, like one very strong judge who will just come and say, look, City, you won't run because you have this and this.
No,
and
they
this
say
case.
it.
Yeah.
They say it. Then that list is handed
IBC.
over to IBC. Then IBC handed, EACC get the list.
Right.
They write it. They send it to IBC. IBC go and mark it up. Right. There's a picture of the president.
When I heard it.
They mark it up. That is as polite as I can say it.
Yeah.
This is a picture of the president walking. He was touring the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam after it was launched yesterday. This visit to Ethiopia is what has around it the story of the jet.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Right. Now, this is the story that seems to be common fodder in Kenya. This is the headline in the Business Daily. Hackers steal 1.59 billion from Kenyan banks' customers. The theft of customer savings surges to 412 million. Mobile banking heist, 810 million accounts for total. Oh, my God. It's increasing.
Yeah.
The exposure, mobile banking fraud, 2023 it was 184 million. Now it's 981 million. Card fraud, 16 million. Now it's 439 million. Computer fraud, it was 145 million shillings. Yes, now it is 203. Identity theft, this one has gone down. It was 223 million, now it's only 203 million. Online banking fraud, it was 110, now it's 129. Internal scam, it was 0.7, around 7 million shillings. Now it is 6 million shillings. Hey. Treasury plans 129 debt for food swap in March. This one I want to read so you understand it.
Right.
Kenya will in March next year issue a pioneering 1 billion debt for food swap with World Food Program as the country seeks fresh solutions to ease the mounting debt burden. Treasury is eyeing the $1 billion, 129.3 billion shilling savings on its external debt payments through WFP brokered swap arrangements with creditors in exchange for investing in food security programs. This debt for food swap arrangement is earmarked for the quarter ending March 2024. I was reading this thing because I thought they were telling us how they're going to be giving people free food.
You've realized it's not what you thought.
That's why I've stopped reading it.
Yeah.
Treasury to borrow more from domestic market in U-turn. The Treasury has walked back on a plan to balance borrowing from domestic and external markets, signaling challenges trying to get funding from outside. Okay?
Yeah.
UK group seeks permit to review Kerio Floor Spa project. A consortium of firms led by London-based Fujax UK has applied for a mining license to revive the collapsed Floor Spa mining project in Kerio Valley. U.S. investors raise portfolio holdings. American investors raised their portfolio holdings in Kenya in 2024 for the first time in 5 years, lured by high interest rates and attractive yields on Nairobi stock market. That is the Business Daily. The Billionaire League is something that you have already spoken of.
Yeah.
And you have also spoken of news in the Daily Nation.
Right.
The
East African.
Yeah, we mentioned this yesterday, but let me just mention a few things. Zimbabwe still grows tobacco, and page 19 in Outlook in the East African, they highlight the plight of tobacco growers in Southern Africa. Okay?
Yeah.
Money, warehouse rent yields. Kampala and Dar es Salaam beat Nairobi. Meaning they're doing better warehouse business than we are.
And na sisi ndio tuko kwa maji karibu na port.
Yeah,
sisi ndio tuko na ocean.
The preferences, it's our taxes and the way we go about our business. The tax sometimes isn't the problem. We have a tendency and a reputation,
right?
Sometimes not proven, alleged, that we always seek kickbacks, and the kickbacks are not reasonable. Apparently, there's reasonable kickback and there's unreasonable kickback. It is said allegedly that we are famous for unreasonable kickbacks.
Yeah.
Somebody asks for an amount and you wonder, why would I give you that amount of money?
Sure.
Yes. What for? Yes. And we seem
for you just to put a signature.
Yes.
Yeah.
We seem to think it's okay. And those we do business with clearly don't think it is okay. So they go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hapo ndipo shida iko.
Papa hapo tu. Na ni wengi. Watu ambao wanaizi tabia mbovu. Yes. Si wachache.
Yeah.
And the strange thing is many of them think it's business.
Many of them think it's
business.
Business.
Yes. It's extortion really, but they think it's business.
And when will we ever get? Because, we've been talking about this countries such as Sweden and Switzerland and Norway and Singapore and Malaysia. And I'm sure even them, they have their own level of problems as far as corruption is concerned.
They do.
But when shall we just get to a point whereby we can literally say majority of us have integrity?
The leadership that we speak of, we normally point to an individual who is the first among equals. But in these countries, you will find that there were groups of people or a group of people who had the same vision and the same determination. And they also brought up others who had the same determination. It isn't one person. The vision bearer is rarely one person. They head it, but they're the people who share it and they work with them. And when you see the success, that is the reason. When there's an absence of that, there's infighting that you don't see. And the infighting is for resources. And that infighting guarantees that the country does not grow. It also guarantees that the common denominator, the mwananchi mtukufu, will definitely not benefit from whatever they're supposed to benefit from. Because these people are busy fighting among themselves to see who can either plunder more, who can extort more, essentially who can get more from the resources of government, as opposed to directing these resources to where they're most needed.
Yeah. I can't wait. I imagine this. I imagine that life. And again, going back to my movie watching, whatever pastime activity, I watch a lot of movies where people are caught up in corruption scandals, even caught with money in their offices or even vehicles, and money ranging in the billions, not billions but millions. So you hear someone was arrested with, say, even $10 million US in his office, and all that money is taken as exhibit to the courts.
It's gone.
Hapa Kenya unapatikana na 10 million Kenya shillings, but the declared is about 500,000.
Yes. Because
apparently the arresting officers have made away with 9.5 million.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. If you're to believe stories about traffic policemen and how they take money for others, and then what can you not believe?
It's crazy. Anyway, I promised you that I'll give you the number to call or to WhatsApp. First of all, a big shout out to our Fuller team. Our Fuller, good morning, City and Mbuvi. A very dire warning to the MPs considering altering politicians' terms of office. Kenya will be Nepal. Nyaundi Brian, good morning, City. City amepokea salamu zako.
Sana.
Yes. A big shout out also to the folks on WhatsApp. Our number is 0116-928-683. That is 0116-928-683. If you want to highlight a brother, well, that's where you can find us.
Radio generation, the sound is fine. Pump it up, turn it high all the time. Let the music move you, let's sway. Radio G's got your jam all day.
Radio Generation, the home of urban soul. This is the Radio Generation News.
Good morning, I'm Winnie Maganga. A Nairobi-based lawyer Matthew Chalo was shot dead in his car on Tuesday evening while driving from work along Magadi Road in Kare, Nairobi. Witnesses and police said the attack occurred during a traffic jam carried out by gunmen on motorcycle. Chalo, a former chairman of the political party's disputes tribunal and a lecturer at Multimedia University, was targeted less than a kilometer from the Galleria Mall. Police reported that the assailants shattered his car window before firing at least 3 bullets into his chin.
Nikasikia nje kama mlio wa pikipiki huwa zinatoa sauti fulani twa kama fire burst, lakini nikasikia kama fire burst ya pikipiki kwa sababu ni njia inapitika. After kusikia hiyo fire burst, nikasikia nduru watu wanapiga. Nikaambia wenye tulikuwa na watu wanapiga nduru ni nini? Twende tuone kwa barabara. Kukuja hivi tunaona watu wanatoka kwa magari wakiteremka hapo. Tukakuja na watu wa maua mbio. Kufika pale hiyo gari nayo ilikuwa imegonga Nissan. Sasa mama walikuwa kwa hiyo Nissan, tukawauliza ni nini? Wakasema wameua mtu hapa na wao watu wametoroka na pikipiki wameenda.
The Supreme Court is warning against Kenya's long history of mistrust in elections. In its latest advisory opinion on the mandate of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, the court said the legitimacy of Kenya's democracy depends not just on strong institutions, but also on leaders respecting the constitution and the will of the people. The judges recalled how the country's elections have repeatedly faced credibility questions, from the Kriegler Commission findings after the 2007-2008 post-election crisis to the legal battles that followed the 2022 presidential vote. The National Police Service Commission has revealed that the budget for the recruitment of 10,000 police constables was directly allocated to the National Police Service. This undermined their ability to independently and effectively discharge its recruitment mandate. Appearing before the Committee on Administration and Internal Security, NPSC Chair Amani Yuda and CEO Peter Lelei said the forthcoming recruitment might be jeopardy following the budget allocation impasse.
In terms of the recruitment of the 10,000 constables, whose budget, again through this committee and the National Assembly, was appropriated.
The current challenges in executing the functions, including any overlaps that impede effective policing and governance.
We are generally in concurrence with our colleagues from the command side in terms of ensuring that we attain the shortest time possible because of the urgency with which we are expected to deliver on this.
Deputy President Kithure Kindiki has called on road users to respect border operators as he urged the riders to avoid recklessness and misbehavior causing animosity on the roads. He said the riders enjoy every right like other Kenyans in the transport industry and eke a living, revealing that the government will work with them to streamline the sector. The DP, however, said a small percentage is engaging in criminal activities that are spoiling the name of those doing clean and genuine business.
On a busy highway, you do a dangerous high turn. Ama unaingia barabarani bila kuobserve. Abiria wengi kufika siasi na hawana hata helmet. Mambo haya machache ya wengine wachache ambao wanaharibu hii sekta, unawaharibia walio wengi ambao wanapata riziki kupitia hii sekta. Lazima tuwe watu wa kutii sheria. Ni kama kiongozi, kama sitawaambia ya kwamba baadhi yenu wanaharibia wengine kwa sababu ya kutotii sheria. Katika bodaboda wanataka kutii sheria, kufanya biashara, kuhakikisha kwamba hawahatarishi maisha ya wale wengine ambao wanatumia barabara.
Cristiano Ronaldo equaled the goal-scoring record as Portugal edged past Hungary in their 2026 World Cup qualifying match. The striker netted for the 39th time in the World Cup qualifying matches, making him the joint highest ever scorer alongside Guatemala's Carlos Ruiz and 3 ahead of Argentina's Lionel Messi. 40-year-old Ronaldo extended his international record to 141 goals in 223 appearances for Portugal, the most by any male player for the country. And that's the truth on Radio Generation. Good morning, I'm Winnie Maganga.
In the beginning, there was morning radio. But now there is Radio Generations, the people's breakfast. Curious and bold, getting facts from the shadows.
That's what it is.
Now, as the city wakes and secrets stir, a bright new voice shines. The people's breakfast. Your morning, your voice, your journey. Good morning.
Good morning, my neighbor!
Welcome to the home of hard truths and bold insights. Radio Generation.
Welcome back. This is Radio Generation, 7 minutes past 7 o'clock. A very good morning. If you're just joining us, well, karibu tena sana. You've missed a lot, but you know what? We'll still accommodate you for the remainder of the session. 88.8 FM in Nairobi. Mombasa, it's 90.7. You can also find us live on rgk.co.ke. We are live on YouTube. We are live on X. We're also live on ingine mito nini? Kuna YouTube, kuna on X. Yes, that's how you can find us. That's where you'll find us, and on our website as well. That is rgk.co.ke. City, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
Welcome back to Radio Generation. Welcome back to the conversation, rather. I was just checking out some of the things that are happening online, or rather some of the conversations Kenyans are having online, and I can assure you a lot is being said about what we spoke about earlier, the lawyer, Chalombobu.
Please.
And it's just, I think, any speculation. Kama kuna moja wanasema ya kwamba he was part of the team that visited Chebukati apparently after the election.
There's no evidence to support that, is there?
I'm just saying speculation.
No, we're reading and we're saying yes. I'm merely commenting.
Yeah. And you're
so
right.
Okay, let's say they visited Chebukati then.
And then what?
And then what?
That's the question.
Okay, go on.
Yeah.
Oh, you to do
nataka nisome exactly what they've written. Sawa, acha nikwambie.
Kuna wengine wamezungumzia. I'd like us to read.
Even ndivyo wamesema. According to the late Wafula Chebukati, Raphael Tuju said that if we accept the request to moderate the results or alternatively force a runoff, we would be adequately rewarded. These apparently are words that the former IBC chair spoke at that time, even before he fell ill. Yeah. Apparently the CS, that is Raphael Tuju, former CS, did approach him. Apparently.
By the way, apparently, you see, the thing is, it's not that he fell ill. That man must have been ill even then.
Yeah.
By the time there's an ailment that kills you, it's not as though you got it in 2 days and you're dead. No.
Unless it's COVID.
COVID will kill you in hours.
Or Ebola, for that matter.
Or there's some forms of malaria that can do that as well. Okay, but the point is this. It is speculative.
Yes.
Do we have salams kutoka sehemu mbalimbali za Kenya?
Kwa sasa naona tu ni Wafula na Nyaundi Brian ambaye alikusalimia, ndio ninaona nimepata salamu zao. Labda kama kuna zingine zimejificha mahali, I'll be refreshing that particular website to see if they are coming through. Yeah, but a couple of stuff that I had also meant. Where is that delineation? Yes, Afakwa delineation. A couple of stuff I had noticed as far as stories are concerned. I want us to probably talk about a little bit about Gachagua and 2027, kingmaker or going for the crown. In your opinion, City, as a Kenyan citizen who I expect to be voting come 2027, in your mind as you're analyzing the people that you're gonna chagua, of which kuna wengine hawajajitokeza, maybe watajitokeza huo wakati, wewe kwa akili yako unamuona Gachagua akiwa mgombeaji uraisi, ama yeye ndiye atakuwa anasema yule jamaa ndiye anatosha mboga?
One of the things about power is when you've been close to it, you have a better understanding of it than most people. The rest of us just speculate. Now, this man had proximity when he worked for Uhuru. This man had proximity when he was a member of parliament. This man then became deputy president.
Right.
He has seen it close hand, and he has even participated in the exercising of it.
Yeah.
So I will answer your question, the question, why would he want to play second fiddle to somebody else when he can play first fiddle?
But again, the question is, what are his chances?
Well, the chances are always high until proven otherwise. Remember, when you're a political leader, there are always whisperers around you. People who tell you what the people have decided and what the people are thinking, and how you are the chosen one of the people. No shortage of those ones. And these are experts. They know it's a business. Now, it's also a segment of business that they conduct. So when you start campaigning early, these people now have an opportunity to start conducting their businesses early, and they work at it. They are very, very good at it. Something they fine-tuned over time. So long as they're whispering in your ears and there are crowds to prove what they're telling you,
right,
there's absolutely no reason why you cannot believe that you are the one who will be the chosen one. It is not humanly possible for you to ignore the crowds. It is not humanly possible for you to ignore what people are telling you.
Yes.
It's not humanly possible. So that is my answer to your question.
All right. And I like that answer. But to go back to the very first thing that you said as far as his candidacy is concerned, I think he would actually be better placed if he plays second fiddle.
What? You think so?
Yeah. And when I say second fiddle, is there a third fiddle?
Even fourth.
Even fourth, eh? Akichezea hapo, I think he's better placed.
Better placed how and why?
No, Kenyans haven't really seen the governance, or they really can't. Hatuwezi mpima, tuna kipimi, tuna yardstick ya kuangalia performance ya Gachagua akiwa in a governance position, because I don't believe him having been a deputy president was really a governance position, because he really wasn't doing much as far as that position is concerned. And if what we have heard out there is true about that position, you know, where you just wait to be told what to do by the president, then I think it's not really enough. But it would be something interesting to see if he actually did, say, end up being a cabinet secretary, for example, in charge of whatever ministry that the president of the day might decide him to be in, or if he is in a position like a prime cabinet secretary or a prime minister, where he's actually involved in the day-to-day running of the government, like he is in charge of something, like a particular duty. He has a particular responsibility that we can say, okay, when he was, CS for Interior, he did this and this and that. When he was CS for Agriculture, for example, he did something in that regard. When he was CS for Treasury, tuliona actually alifanya. When he was CS for Health, tunaanza sema alileta these reforms. But as a DP, I don't think we can really judge and say that this is what he achieved as DP.
We actually do judge. If you listen to conversations that people have regarding the current president,
right,
every time Uhuru Kenyatta is mentioned, there are those who will mention and say, but he was a deputy. So he and Uhuru. The truth is, you're an assistant.
Yes.
The only time when a vice president had gravitas was immediately after independence. Because at that point in time, even to be a minister, you started off by being a member of parliament. You were elected. After you were elected, and if your party won, and that time there's only one party anyway, the president then had the opportunity to decide whether you could serve as a minister. The vice president served as Minister for Home Affairs, so he had a docket. Yep. The president also had a docket. See? After that, immediately after that first president, we still had the same position, but the power that the vice presidents then had kept getting reduced. Because for the longest time, we still had ministers who were vice presidents and also minister for finance.
Exactly.
Vice president and minister for
home affairs.
And so forth. Those ones had power. After that,
it's a wrap.
You're an assistant chief.
Yeah. But you see, even for President Ruto, he was a minister at one point. Actually, he held several ministries. So we can actually say that, okay, as a minister, we saw what you did. And you know, we're talking about now national level kind of leadership. We're not talking about MP of Sji Madira or MP for Madhioya or MP for Sji what constituency. We're talking about where you can actually effect change. And where you're in your day-to-day running of your duties, we can actually see that you have delivered on certain responsibilities. Let's even take former VP Kalonzo Musyoka. He was a vice president, and even before that, he was a cabinet minister, home affairs, and we saw what he did in that particular ministry. So we can actually judge him on that and say, okay, when you are that CS or rather that minister, there are certain things that we can actually point out. We can go back to history, check and say that you delivered on this and this and that. Aya. Mtu mwingine Martha Karua, she was Minister for Justice and Constitutional Affairs. We can actually say that in that docket, and she even came here and she told us some of the things that she tried to effect, and some of them, she actually saw them through. Who else is running for president? Maraga. We can say, you know, in the position that we gave you as the president of the Supreme Court, we have seen the fruit of that particular labor. So we can judge you on that. Someone else who is also running for president, Okiya Omtatah, as a senator, and even before he was a senator, we have seen him trying to effect change in the positions that he has held, whether before he became a politician and even when he became a politician. Who else is running for president? Boniface Mwangi. We can say we have seen him in maandamano, we have seen him in courts, we have seen him fighting for the mwananchi, we have seen him do ABCD. We can judge him on that. Sasa, unfortunately, kwa former deputy president Rigathi Gachagua, kwa sasa mimi sio, lakini mtu akinifungua macho nionyeshe, sitakataa kuona.
By the way, what you've just said begins and ends as an academic discussion.
Right.
We don't elect people because of their track records. Not really.
But I think we should.
Actually, we should do a lot more than that. But our voting patterns are peculiar.
Okay.
Our voting patterns as to who it is we consider to be a leader who you should listen to and for whom you should seek guidance, it's peculiar. If you start simply by the fact that this person comes from a region and speaks the language you speak, it's a very key criteria.
Right.
Yeah. Raila Odinga holds sway in Luo Nyanza and the regions around there, what we call the western part of the country. That leadership doesn't hold sway in central Kenya.
Okay.
Kalonzo Musyoka holds sway in Ukambani.
Right.
That leadership doesn't hold much sway in Narok, Kajiado County. Now, why and how these people are the leaders of their people and why their people have decided, that is a subject of debate. In fact, it could form a discussion, a question for a master's or a PhD. Why? What is it that the people have seen in these individuals? It has very little to do with the track record of development and what have you. Very little. Very, very little. Now, when it comes to ministers and the people whom you think should actually be the ones who, by virtue of what they do in the ministries, what are we looking at? When they held ministerial portfolios, whether it is water, agriculture, finance, environment, are we looking at what they did that helped the region they come from? Or are we looking at how they perform their duties with regards to ensuring that the nation benefited under their leadership?
And that is why I said specifically about individuals who've held national portfolios like the CSs or ministers. At least hapo tunaangalia venye tunaweza kujudge on the performance at that particular point. in the position rather.
Many people have actually lost their positions of authority as members of parliament in a time when that was important, because you are a minister, but people don't feel you on the ground. So they don't elect you, and so your ministership goes poof.
Yeah.
When you are able to connect with the people, and your connection gives the believable factor that you are the one who can improve their lives. There may be little evidence to support this, but if that's what they believe, they'll vote for you. The people are elected because they entertain. You look at when they hold the mic, people will love listening to them. In terms of what they do, on any scale of 1 to 10, it's probably near a half, not even 1.
Yeah.
But they get elected. People love them. The individuals whose track record for development in terms of what they do, the monies or the allocated monies to them is grand. But remember, this is against the backdrop of an understanding we had from independence that when someone is elected, they will bring you development. They're actually not wrong. When you legislate, you are in a position to ensure that there are laws that would bring about the changes that are required. When you have a budget-making parliament like this one, they can be lobbied to ensure that money is allocated for certain projects in certain places that are needed. Okay? Now, if that is your role, and you may even have moved a bill, that will not guarantee you getting elected. It won't. People elect you because they like you. That's it. Whatever the reason.
Yeah.
If you have a track record, then they'll say that is the reason why they elect you, but they like you. If they like you, they'll elect you.
I have a problem with Kenyans because sometimes I feel like when we get to the ballot every election cycle, it's like we have amnesia.
No, we don't.
We do.
We don't.
We do.
Tell me why you think we have amnesia.
Because we tend to forget some of the things that these leaders that we elect have done in the past.
No.
And when I say some of the things they do, I mean specifically the bad things. Sometimes even the evil things they have done. An MP will shoot An MP will shoot someone. That someone dies, but you still end up electing that person. An MP will embezzle funds, steal money, even as a CS, or rather as a minister during the days when they were ministers. Huyu mtu amepatikana kwa scandal after scandal after scandal after scandal. Bado mnampatia kura.
Okay.
As though in your constituency, there is absolutely no one else who could have been given that chance.
Well, let's get granular on this one here. Regions where you have leaders who are touted and considered and believed to be the principal leaders of that community, they represent parties of which they are party leaders. In such constituencies, in such areas, you will find that when you get a nomination to the party ticket of this party leader, your chances of being elected are more or less guaranteed. Bar an occasion where there may be an individual who is liked by his people for whatever reason, they feel this man is a man who is good for us and has shown that he listens to people. It's not just the development. He gets along with people. People feel him. Okay? When there is something that people consider important, they see him. When there's something that the community want to get together, they find he is there. He is never too busy for them. In fact, his life is about them. Now, that is a hurdle that very people can overcome. And you overcome it by being independent. That we have independent members of parliament elected tells you there are people who can circumvent it. But by and large, there are not many. Now, when you look at, again, you leave that factor out. When somebody is elected as an independent, it means the person who had that party ticket that is popular in that region is not liked for whatever reason. So the likability factor that I was talking about comes into play. Now, if you take it further now and you talk about national politics, it's the same rules apply. The likability, and there's a reason behind the likability. And each of these leaders, you'll hear people saying, they will be giving you reasons as to why this person is likable and why they consider them a leader. Okay? But the thing that is often not considered is the changing times. Like now, this 21st century is a really tricky century. It's tricky in the sense that it's the information age, it's upon us. It's like an entirely new civilization.
Yeah.
And things that we couldn't know, didn't know, now we know firsthand and immediately. Now, people make the decisions again on that. So how do you keep up with these changes? You want to vie for a seat. You want to prove to the people that you are the best for them. The narrative you're using is the same narrative which was used at independence. You will bring development. Our people haven't moved very much from that thinking, despite it being this particular century. The people who understand and have changed are children who are the grandchildren now of those who are in leadership and independence. They did not see all these things that people talk about. They were children, they are toddlers, they didn't understand many things. What they understand is what they're trying to relate to what they find. And when you see the protest, that is them communicating and telling you, we don't like what we're seeing.
Yeah.
We're not happy with this. Because they don't seem to get it. But remember, even when we've had this academic discussion, at the end of it, there is this process we call voting. It starts with 1, you registering. 2, you having an ID. Well, actually, I should start with the ID first, then registering. Okay?
Yes.
Then there's you walking to the booth and actually voting. Right? Thirdly, there's you circumventing the norms of how we vote. And that's why when I tell you that the Gen Z are not tested, they haven't overcome the tendencies that we have with our election. That you're very clear-minded until the day of election. This is what you're calling amnesia. It's not amnesia. No, it's not. We are social creatures, and we sometimes want to downplay the factors that influence us and how it is that we're influenced. Societal influence, what we call an ecosystem within which we exist, plays a very big role in how we think and how we make up our minds. And it doesn't matter which generation you belong to, no one is immune.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a lady governor, I won't mention her name, but there are very few of them. She was caught up in one of the biggest scandals in this country. But she ended up being elected over and over. Why? Because at one point, Baba, that is Raila Amolo Odinga, alisema nini? Nimeupe kama pamba. Even after the scandals, after the drama following her whatever.
What did the courts have to say on that?
And that, I'm getting to that. And after all that, we see individuals, or an individual in this case, with this kind of track record and with this kind of scandals following them. Na tunakuja tunasema niaje? Just because, and before that, everyone was like, this lady hapana. But the day Baba just said, kama pamba, that was it. And everything after that changed.
Where's the amnesia?
We literally forgot that this individual had been in the courts, having apparently stolen billions of Kenya shillings.
You know, there is a concept that I want you to understand.
Right.
And it involves change. There's something called change blindness. You see, but you actually don't see. Sometimes you hear and you actually don't hear. It's change deafness.
Right.
What do I mean by this? There are voices, and I mean individuals. That's why I'm referring to them as voices, because when they speak, they become a voice. That people over time have learned to trust, even against their better judgment. I'm repeating this.
Yeah.
Even against their better judgment, they've come to say, okay, since so and so has said. When a matter is in court, please remember, with our laws, you are innocent until proven guilty. Did our courts find this person guilty? The answer is no. So if the court do not find them guilty, it doesn't matter what you think. It doesn't matter what you want. It doesn't matter what you know. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So if you're not guilty, then you are innocent. Now it depends on who pronounces it. All your misgivings say, okay, maybe there's something he knows that I don't know. Maybe the other factors that I haven't considered. The maybe, and then now conspiracy theories like ourselves, you and I, come in. And then we really muddy the waters. So one doesn't really know what really happened here. Okay? Now, when we talk about corruption and the institutionalization of it, we often don't go back to the genesis and what started happening and what you're referring to. How we started accepting wrong piecemeal to the point where we just simply accept it. See, it's not just wrong in theft. Wrong is wrong. If you kill someone, it's wrong.
Yep.
And you steal, it's wrong.
Yep.
So, once we have accepted that is our position, then is there really anything we can't excuse? Apana. No. That, of course not. No.
Yeah.
You don't understand business. Said, what don't I understand about business? There are details that are not in the public domain, which if you understood, you'd realize it's not what you're saying. Say, really. Theft is just theft. I mean, you can call it the way you want, but and you can go to court about it. And see, our courts are not the avenue or the place where you go to look for the truth. Not really. No, it's not. It's not.
Our courts are what then? In that case,
it's a jurisdiction where you have to prove that the truth is what it is, and if you can't,
and then
it disappears.
That's every court in the world.
I don't live in the world. I live here.
But that's every
world.
Courts always follow evidence.
And that's what I'm telling you.
Presented.
Yes, that does not represent the truth. It doesn't necessarily represent the truth.
It just presents evidence.
Yes, and that evidence could be false. So if you're looking for the truth, you could look for justice.
Yeah.
It's fairly elusive, but the place you're likely to get it is in the courts. Now, justice is a strange thing. The accused, even if they were guilty and they're found not guilty, they'll think it is justice. The person who knows full well that this person perpetrated that crime and this person has been let off will feel what they are enduring is an injustice. Now, that is what the courts do. And that is the reason why it is understood that for the courts to function, there must be impartiality. And that is why in our jurisdiction, they are given the strength of being independent.
Yeah.
So you don't have to be influenced to make your decision. Okay? So if you are influenced, it is you. Because you are independent. So you cannot now go and start finding people to blame. Because this is what we do. We look for people to blame.
But how sure are we then, in that case, that our courts are actually independent?
How sure are we that they're not?
Hizo zile swali za siso.
No, not really. They're simple and straightforward. A court is what it is because of the people who work there. The people who are tasked with looking at evidence and determining where it is the truth supposedly stands are the magistrates and the judges. Now, these individuals, we have, for instance, a system that enables you to disagree with that particular judgment. That's why you move from the magistrate court, the senior magistrate's court, the chief magistrate's court, then you go to the high court. You can keep moving. It means someone hasn't agreed and you're looking for a high jurisdiction. Then you go to the appeal. Now it isn't one person. There are 3 people looking at this thing. Then special tribunals can be set up. And if you don't, you go to the Supreme Court. It's a lengthy process, but it understands that somewhere along the line there may be evidence that wasn't produced, maybe evidence that was produced but was not presented. Many things. This is how we actually document the attempts at finding justice.
Yes.
And the people who are behind it are individuals who have studied the law. Yes.
All I'm saying is, it's one of those situations whereby, because we've seen what happens in the courts. For instance, we had Martha Karua here, and she did say that, which election was it? Was it the 2017 election? She said that something happened to her evidence. It was ignored. Was it ignored or lost, or what happened?
She wanted to be governor.
Yes. And she says that at that particular time when she went to petition the election, something happened to her evidence. And she says it was there from the beginning when they were filing the case, but by the time they were getting to the to the higher courts, apparently that evidence was either ignored and or they said it didn't exist, or it got lost or something of that matter. So when we have that kind of situation, and that's what I'm saying, are we sure that our courts are actually independent?
They are.
Yeah,
they are.
Then how can such a situation occur where you had your evidence at the lower courts, but by the time you're getting to the higher courts, evidence yako haiko?
Yeah,
help me make sense of that.
Call it human error, lack of something better to say.
So, if the evidence was there in the initial stages, but we've gotten to this particular point and it is not there, see, we just go back and find out. We just go back and find out where the evidence either got lost or where it was ignored. Then we just recapture it from there.
Yes, that's the theory.
Yeah.
And people do try to do that. But remember, while all this is going on, the judge is moving along and making his judgment. And in the absence of that evidence, they will make their ruling.
You know, it's like the way when we were young, I'd go and report my siblings to my parents.
Yes,
you're all punished. It doesn't matter who was on the wrong,
there
who was
are
on the
parents
right.
of a generation who understood collective responsibility.
Hey,
that is what you're enduring.
Mami siti amenichapa, ambia siti akuja hapa. Ndio huyu siti kujeni hapa nyinyi wote pa. And you're like, Allah,
What I do?
I'm the one who reported this crime. And I feel like that is what is happening in our courts today.
Not really.
I honestly feel like, because you've come with the evidence, you've presented it to the courts, and you've said, look, here is evidence of CT having beaten me. And then the judge looks at the case, at the situation, and says, look, we have actually found that there's no case here. And you're like, wait, I just showed you a video of an assault.
This is what happens, my brother. That is why you have an appeal process. You don't like the lower courts?
Yeah.
Go to the upper one.
Then and I'm using Martha Karua's case. She went to the other court. They also said, hii evidence unasema ni kama hatuyoni.
She went to the Court of Appeal.
Yeah.
She went to the Supreme Court. She went to the Court of East Africa.
Right. Exactly.
The Court of East Africa couldn't overturn what our Court of Appeal or the Supreme Court had determined.
Yeah.
But they could also give their view.
Yeah.
And she said it here. I needed a court of good repute to speak on this matter. And they did.
Okay.
So she rested her case because she has evidence that this is what the court found.
Yeah.
Yes. Look, that we are even discussing the processes is a wonderful thing.
Right.
There are places where these things don't exist. On paper, you may think of all these processes. You'll go to one and that's the end of that story. And it will stop being stupid. You go back and do whatever you're doing. Stop wasting our time.
Unaitwa nyuma ya tent.
Yeah, stop wasting our time.
There's this situation that is happening in Uganda. I can't remember the name of this individual who was actually seeking justice in the court.
Besije.
Not Besije. I think it was either Besige's person or a different person.
No, not Bobby Wine.
Not Bobby Wine. So, but anyway, this person, I think he was a lawyer. And actually, Martha Karua was in Uganda. Hey, Martha Karua nenanga kila mahali. She was in Uganda when that situation happened. There's I think it was a lawyer who protested outside court. Then he was told, my friend, unajua hapa ni kotini. He was saying, but no, I have my rights. You cannot tell me nothing. He was told, okay, fine. Kanyanga pale kwa dock tuongee kidogo. He went to the docks, and the judge found him guilty of contempt of court. And the guy is currently facing, I think, 15 years, almost 15 months. But he was sentenced to a very long period of time. And even Martha Karua alijaribu kumtetea. The judge listened to her, and after listening to her, he was like, yeah, so you're going for 15. And I was like, you just ignored what counsel has said.
Let me explain something to you, sir. Uganda doesn't have a constitution similar to ours. Okay, just start there.
But I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for that guy. He's in prison for nothing, by the way.
No, he's not in prison for nothing. The constitution of this country is what enables us to have this discussion the way we are and to talk about the systems which the constitution has created, like these independent institutions. You understand? When you look at Uganda, they do not have that same situation. Tanzania does not have that same situation. And you can go on and on.
But why? We are living in the 21st century. I mean, surely we are in 2025. Why is Uganda oppressing people like that? The guy was just outside court. And I think the reason why he was protesting is because they were stopped from accessing the court. So he became a bit physical. It wasn't violent because it was a court martial. The bailiffs outside were actually military police.
It was a Besije case.
Yes, it was a Besije case. So I think he was actually Besige's lawyer. And one of the lawyers, he was, because he has many.
Who appoints judges in Uganda?
I think it's the same way as in Kenya back in the day.
You better do your homework.
It was Yoweri Museveni.
Precisely.
The president, rather.
So you think a case like that, the judge would not have been, it wouldn't have been determined who is going to judge that case.
So are we saying that Kaguta called this gentleman and...
I am not saying anything, except...
It is anecdotal.
I asked the question, who? appoints judges in Uganda.
So
that's all I asked.
This guy became physical outside the court. Then kidogo, he also went into the court shouting and chanting, "Oh, free Besigye!"
He did, huh?
Here we are. Here we are. So, I mean, I look at some of the situations that we are facing, and I keep on complaining about Africa as a whole because I'm an African citizen. If we don't change some of these things, we will always end up being called primitive by
whom?
By other continents that are not Africa.
In Uganda,
yeah,
the president appoints judges, but only after consultation with the Judicial Service Commission. They have one.
Okay, so they have a JSC.
Yes, they do. Okay. They are responsible for overseeing appointments, discipline, and removal of judicial officers. Okay.
Yeah.
Before any is appointed, the president must consult with the JSC. Okay.
Yeah.
Who appoints the JSC? I'm simply trying to explain to you that when you have a case such as the one that you are mentioning, what is under trial is not Besigye. It's the judicial system. That is what is on trial. And everything about it, from who appoints the judges, from how the JSC is constituted, to who it is who ensures that members are what they are, and the independence of these institutions, that is what is on trial.
You know, we knew that Kenya had a very tough period, you know, especially after independence, in terms of our governance, and a lot of things happened that, you know, we're not proud of. And then, but amidst all that, we had a president called President Moi, who I think was very reasonable. Yeah,
there are people who disagree with you on that subject.
Yeah, of course. No, and the reason I'm saying he was very reasonable, if you compare him to our neighbors, our neighboring presidents, you will actually agree that President Moi was a very reasonable fellow. Because at the end of the day, even after Yokeleleot, he still allowed multi-party politics in this country.
And he had a lot of choices about it, didn't he?
Sorry?
He had many choices regarding that matter.
I think he had a lot of choices. He could have made a very different choice, and right now would be living in a very different country, right? But at one point, he just chose to, you know what, relax, chillax, as we like saying, you know, young people, we like calling it chillaxing. And he chillaxed, and he said, you know what, this is what you want. Siasa mbaya, maisha mbaya, chukueni. Do whatever you're going to do. And then we had multi-party politics, and we had all these parties springing up, and we had individuals such as Raila becoming as prominent as he became at that particular time. Then move on to Kibaki. We even had a constitutional change at that particular point, where we had a referendum, and now we have a new constitution as a country. I feel like if other countries such as Uganda, Tanzania, not Tanzania, but say Uganda, specifically Uganda, if they had probably a change of president, perhaps they would even have a change in their constitution that would allow.
They did. The 1995 constitution, there were some amendments. Is what created the Judicial Service Commission.
Amendments.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Even ours has had some amendments. But the act that now breathed life into the Judicial Service Commission was in 1997. So it isn't as though they don't have those processes. Please remember that it's a multi-party system in Uganda. All right? It's not as though it's a one-party system. Multi-party. Even Tanzania is multi-party.
Yeah. But I've said if they had change in presidents, Uganda has not had a change in president for God knows how long, over 40 years now, I think. If
heading there.
Yeah. So if at one point they actually do get a different president, because
so you think that when you change presidents, the likelihood of something better happening is there?
Yeah.
The US changed presidents. How did that work out?
But they've changed. They've had now 47 presidents.
Yeah, they changed. I'm just giving an example. How did that work out? Right now, see, we have a new president whom they brought in. How's that working?
Who's also their old president?
How is that working out?
Can you talk about Kenya? Because me, I live in Kenya.
No, I'm looking at the principle of change, and you are bringing about the discussion.
Let's talk about
that change of necessity will bring about something good. I'm saying it doesn't. There's no guarantee. That's really the point I'm making. You see, the Western idea of change, I understand. When you're talking about Europeans, whether they're Scandinavians, these are people who fought wars for centuries, not decades, centuries. Okay? Until they realize, this thing is not taking us very far. We need to consult, and we need to get together, and we need to understand each other, and we need to... Now, but their colonizing habits, they never left.
Yeah.
They never. They just stopped practicing it among themselves. And why? They had practiced it among themselves to the point where now they'd reached a tipping point. They figured, hey, guys, surely,
now or never.
Can we just... And you had a few tough guys who came and knocked people's heads together and told them, this is what you're going to do. What you're going to do, these were not democratic fellows. They were telling you what you're going to do at the risk of you expiring and going into the next world. Okay? So people then got accustomed to working together with all differences, but working together. Okay? Now, this need they had was then exported. That's why when they came, well, first of all, they went to the new worlds, whether it is South Africa, whether it is America, Latin America. They went and brutalized the natives. Seriously. They carried their bad habits with them there. And then now set on a history of explaining and justifying what it is they were doing to benefit the people. How do I benefit from you killing almost every relative I have? That's supposed to be a benefit. Okay? But they want to give the impression it is. There are those who argue that right now it is the same argument that is being used in the situation in the Middle East with Israel. There's a thinking among certain people that because of the trauma that the Jews faced during the Holocaust and other times, that they are the one people who, when given an opportunity to be in positions of authority, would be more sympathetic. But there is a rule here.
Yeah.
That suffering brings trauma. When you endure trauma, you are traumatized. When you are traumatized, the likelihood of being kind and generous actually is not there. What is likely to happen? You are likely to traumatize other people as well, because you are in a state of trauma yourself. But remember, if you're being unkind, you'll say these people just carried on with their the habits they'd had in Europe. The European Jews, they were Jews in Palestine, they were Jews in Iraq, Iran, Syria. There were Jews there. It is these European Jews who came in and were welcomed. It is them who brought in this Zionism that we now see bring out the problems we're having. What point am I making? I am saying that when you want to understand history, you must look at it holistically and look at, because of this, we are here. So when someone starts telling you that Museveni has been there for 40 years, Uganda have people, they have a constitution, they are an extremely educated lot. They will decide when they want to elect somebody else, okay?
Okay.
It's not for other people to tell them how long their leader has been. When you think they don't know Museveni has been there for God knows how many decades. They know.
Sebo.
They know.
Sebo, are you sure?
They know Museveni has been there for the years they've been there. They know.
Sebo, I'm actually asking a very simple question. Are you sure?
Sure about what?
About them electing someone different.
When they want to elect, they will elect, and we will see them electing. For now, they keep electing Museveni. So,
so we have Mastroy Vids. Is it Mastroy? Mastroy Vids says, City is the man of the moment. Big up. Good to see you here. Marion Mbogwa. Good morning, my City and Mbuvi. Looking forward to informative discussions this morning. Brian Bruno, interesting insights. We have a major problem with civic education, hence the Stockholm syndrome we have in a cycle, electing thugs every other day. Are you the one who said about this Stockholm syndrome, or was it Professor Manyora? Yeah?
I didn't invent it. It's a phenomenon that is understood and known. Yes. It's a phenomenon that is understood and it is known.
Yes.
So I was just regurgitating something that people have known,
right,
and giving it as an example, where somebody who is a sufferer begins to identify with the person who brings about their suffering.
Right.
Let me tell you something about, people talk about democracy. We have democracy in Tanzania. It is their democracy. They have a party that has dominated that country from independence. Okay?
Yep.
Dominated. So they have democracy within the party. That's why you find new leaders coming up. You have an expiry date for a president. You have your 2 terms, you move, somebody else comes in. But he's a member of CCM. Okay? Now, You assume, oh, but CCM has been there forever. Yes, so was ANC until they lost the majority.
Okay.
And there was the debate, what happens when ANC loses the majority? The answer is simple, you get into a coalition. And they have gotten into a coalition.
Yep.
I'm simply trying to say that these political systems don't get too carried away with the leadership and systems. They change. They may not change when you want them, but they change, believe me.
Okay.
This same Museveni, okay, maybe the person who's going to bring the situation where somebody else is elected instead of him.
Right.
But we don't know.
Yeah.
And deciding what is good for the Ugandans know what's good for them.
Do you think they have Stockholm syndrome?
I don't think so.
Okay.
If you look at what Uganda went through during Idi Amin and the periods of Milton Obote, then you will understand why someone like Museveni is still president.
Okay.
Yes.
Aya, Bruno, thank you for your comment. Then we have Investment Journal. Ameandika message refu hapa, acha nione kama nitasoma yote. Kenyans don't have amnesia. Some leaders in Kenya have forgotten the needs of the people they represent. Instead, they focus on short-term gains and personal interests. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua in particular was seen as arrogant and vindictive. He appeared to punish those who didn't vote for his party, that is the UDA, by denying them essential services. This behavior suggests a lack of humility and a disconnect from the people who put him in power. I remember one thing they were actually saying at that particular time during the campaigns: punish Uhuru. I wonder whether Uhuru right now is being punished and how much of that punishment he's experiencing and feeling.
The thing is this, what were we seeing when we heard the then Deputy President saying the things he was saying? He hadn't lost his senses.
Right.
No.
But he came out and said that some of those things aliambiwa aseme, si alikuwa anataka kuzisema.
That's what he's saying now, but that's what makes him a politician.
Aliambiwa aseme na ana regret sana ya kwamba alisema hizo vitu.
Recant when it's necessary. But he may be right. Power can get to your head.
Right.
And you can end up saying strange things that even when you look back, you wonder,
hapana city. Bwana Rigathi si ati ni mtoto. Unajua
you think power gets in the head of children?
Bro, you see the interns,
all these leaders are grown-ups, man.
You see these interns we usually have in the office here. They can be forgiven for making such stupid utterances because, maybe they're excited about that kafat salo, they're getting an allowance of sorts and they're getting to do the things that they want. They can go to the barber without necessarily having to call their mom for that money. They can go to the club and buy a few drinks for their girlfriends without necessarily having to borrow that money. I would understand when it gets to their head and they're like, now they feel they're the men at this particular point. But for someone as old and as experienced in politics and governance as Rigathi Gachagua,
nothing of that sort.
Bro, there
is nothing. Everybody is susceptible to the influences of power.
And I'm not disputing that.
The corrosive nature of it.
What I'm disputing here is the kind of utterances we saw from Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua.
Yeah, but that tells you just how much that thing had gotten into his head. When power gets to your head, what we mean is you seem to think that this thing won't come to an end and that there are no consequences for the things you say. That's the drunkenness of power. Because it is false thinking. Well, what do you mean? Everybody is accountable, whether you think or not, you are. When you make such utterances, there are things we heard and you're thinking, God Almighty, what are you saying? Those things came back to bite him. The shareholding story.
Oh, that one has been biting him for a while.
Yeah,
now.
But what he said wasn't false.
Yeah. He actually said what is...
It isn't false. Yes, that is something people don't want you to say. But what he said wasn't false at all.
Very true.
It was absolutely... In fact, he stated the truth as it was. Now, that is not something you state. That is the unwritten rule. And he stated it. So it's biting him because he broke the rule. But it's not that what he said wasn't true. What he said was absolutely true. Yes.
Alisema amekea Raila mitego kila mahali. Siingie State House. You remember that? That's it. Nimeweka mitego moja pale. Nimeweka ingine pale. Sasa Raila ako State House.
Did he give details of what the mtego was supposed to do? Maybe the mtego was supposed to take Raila to State House, but he didn't tell him.
Aliweka mitego pale. Akiweka mtego ingine pale. Na sasa rawa kwa State House, hizi mitego mwenye alimuizi hizi mitego aenda akachukua refund because that mtego didn't work.
Money back.
I would go for my refund. I'll be like, ile mitego nilipatia kwani ilikuwa inafanya kazi in reverse. Because right now Raila is deep in State House.
Aliweka mtego ya panya na ilikuwa aweke mtego ya simba. So panya bado anangoja panya.
I know Rigathi is watching, but Rigathi, I'm not laughing at you. I'm just I'm laughing at the situation. There's Odari. There's Odari. Mwana wa Odari anasema, good morning my favorite radio station RG. I'm Newton Odari from Mombasa. Greetings to all the fans.
Asante.
Yeah.
but let's be positive about this.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I think Rigathi did us a big favor as a nation. Mm-hmm. Because now we know with certainty the sort of mtegos you should not use.
Wait. If there's one person you shouldn't take her, it is Baba. Just let that guy be. Gen Z's walimwekea mtego. Hey. Okay, Gen Z hakumwekea mtego. They just told him, bro, just relax.
No, they told him, look, leave this to us.
Yes.
This one, tuachie.
And he was like, oh, mtaka niwachie. Hey, mtashanga sana. Guys, deep into that place, they told him not to go. And I just want to understand, how does he survive? You've got to be an awesome politician, professor of politics for you to actually do what Raila has done for the decades he has done it for.
He has a serious support system. That's what makes him.
When you say support system, what exactly do you mean?
Well, it is not
support base.
It is, no, system.
Okay.
The support base is part of that system. That support base is what has enabled him to even move from one party to the other, because he gives a guarantee that he will move with that voting bloc. See, coalitions are made of voting blocks. So he is a coalition maker. He has a bloc that he can bring to bear in a situation. That's number one. Number two, when you've been in the system for as long as he has been, an adversary to the system, a guest of the state as he was for those number of years, you developed contacts. You develop people, and there you have people who support your thinking and your view. But he has an additional advantage. He had a father who had been in politics.
Oh, yes.
And who also had supporters and friends. So you inherit these supporters and friends within the country and outside. So you become somebody who, because of the system that is around you, the ecosystem of your politics, there are very many things that you're able to do that other people can't do. Because people support you. You know, I keep telling you, you see an individual, please understand there's a support system behind this person. Otherwise, they wouldn't be what they are.
So he created a very serious and strong network.
He has an extremely strong network. And those networks have people who actually, as I said, support him.
Because I remember he preempted the attack at Standard Group. That time we had Akina Margarian and Sargassian.
Yes, he did.
You remember that time? He was blew a lot of some of the scandals we have seen in this country.
He did.
Yes, including even Anglo leasing.
That thing elevated his status even more. Because prior to that, it was his guessing. He said something, people said, smoke. Turned out to be true. Said something else, turned out to be. They said, wait a moment. This guy seems to understand very many things that we don't.
Exactly.
So in the eye of the public, you are their prime whistleblower who tells them things that they should know. Okay? So it's built over time. You must remember the length of time this person has been visibly in politics for you to understand that that is a long period of time. And if you're building networks, how profound do you think these networks must be?
And I feel like that is what former DP Rigathi Gachagua is trying to do here. Have that, I don't even know I don't think we can call it soft power. The kind of power that Raila has, whereby you actually effect change without having to be the person effecting that change.
How many people has Raila worked with in the times before, when he was detained again, the parties that he's been involved in, the people he's worked with, the people who worked with his father, the people his father knew abroad. I'm giving you an ecosystem. The friends of his father in the UK, the friends of his father in Germany, all these things, the friends of his father on this continent. Then his own friends who over time he has met and known. It's decades.
Yeah. And again,
regarding Gachagua as a toddler in politics, if you were to look at it in that light, he may be trying to build.
Do you think he can be a Raila Odinga?
No. That one, there's nothing for me to even debate. He can't. The circumstances that built Raila don't exist now. The things that made Raila be who he is and to get the reputation he had, the walls he was knocking his head against don't exist now. So regard they can't. No. The politics have changed irrevocably.
Are we saying that, okay, forget Raila, forget Gachagua. Are you saying that we can never have another Raila, another enigma?
No. Circumstances have to conspire to create such a person. Yes. Like saying, can you replicate Jomo Kenyatta? You can't.
Yeah.
Circumstances, the ecosystem, the time, everything about it. This is a different era. And the things that will matter and that will make people stand out are different things. The only thing that is a commonality is the needs that individuals have. Basic needs. Those don't change.
Yeah.
And if those are met, then in this day and age of information, you will definitely become the sort of leader that people want. When you meet those needs and when they can see there's a promise for you working hard to continue meeting them, you become unassailable.
All right. I guess with time tutajua na tutaona. Sindio? Haya. Here's the news. Winnie Maganga.
Radio generation, the sound is fine. Pump it up, turn it high all the time. Let the music move you, let's sway. Radio G's got your jam all day.
Radio Generation, the home of urban soul. This is the Radio Generation News.
Good morning, I'm Winnie Maganga. The Law Society of Kenya has strongly condemned the killing of Advocate Matthew Chalo in Nairobi, calling on Directorate of Criminal Investigations to immediately carry out a thorough investigation into the incident. In a statement issued on Tuesday night, LSK President Faith Odhiambo expressed deep concern over the targeting of advocates, noting that Chalo's murder emphasized the urgent need for better protection of those in the legal profession. Mbobu, a High Court advocate with over 30 years of experience, was shot dead in a drive-by attack on the evening of September 9th, 2025 in Karen, Nairobi. Hospitals across the country have been accused of manipulating loopholes in the Social Health Authority system to pocket millions of shillings for fraudulent medical claims barely a year after the scheme began settling patient bills. Medical Services Principal Secretary Omar Lugo on Tuesday disclosed that some little-known facilities, including those linked to influential figures, had received millions for questionable services, raising concern about the credibility of SHA's payment system. He pointed out between 28 and 35% of medical claims in Kenya are fraudulent, ranging from inflated charges to ghost services. Police have recovered 12 sacks of bang worth an estimated 12 million Kenya shillings in an Akada-led multi-agency raid in Ahero, Kisumu County. Tuesday's operation, conducted with the Anti-Narcotics Unit and National Police Service, targeted a supply network linking Kisumu and Nairobi. A prime suspect, said to be a key supplier to both markets, was arrested at the scene and taken to Kisumu Police Station for processing before arraignment.
Today, following intelligence reports, we managed to conduct a multi-agency enforcement operation at Ahero sub-county in Kisumu County, where we have nabbed a notorious trafficker and 3 other suspects and confiscated bang worth almost 12 million. So this is part of the ongoing efforts to rid the country of the drug abuse menace, and the suspects will have their day in court.
Harambee Stars coach Benny McCarthy praised his team after commanding 5-0 victory in Nairobi over Seychelles. He described the results as a much-needed response following the disappointment of their recent defeat to the Gambia. McCarthy admitted there was pressure heading into the clash, but praised his players for bouncing back strongly.
Not the best way to go out when you play at home, but then today I think did exactly what we said we wanted to do. Take the game to them, don't make it easy for them from the first minute, and when we create chances, just be a bit more ruthless, clinical in front of goal. And then we worked a bit on set pieces yesterday, quite a bit, and then we knew that their team wasn't the tallest and that, so if we put the balls in the right areas, we could get some joy.
The UN Secretary General has condemned an Israeli strike targeting Hamas leaders in Doha, the capital of Qatar, on Tuesday. In a statement, Antonio Guterres spoke out against what he called blatant violation of Qatari sovereignty and territorial integrity, insisted that all parties must focus on achieving a permanent ceasefire in Gaza. Hamas reported that 6 people had been killed, including the son of one of its exiled leaders from Gaza Strip, but added that its senior negotiators and top officials had all survived. And that's the truth on Radio Generation. Good morning, I'm Winnie Maganga.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Radio Generation. Radio Generation assumes no responsibility or liability for the interviewee's views. This is Radio Generation. In the beginning, there was morning radio. But now there is Radio Generation's The People's Breakfast, curious and bold, getting facts from the shadows.
That's what it is.
Now, as the city wakes and secrets stir, a bright new voice shines. The People's Breakfast, your morning, your voice, your journey. Good morning.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Welcome to the home of hard truths and bold insights, Radio Generation.
A very good morning to you. Welcome to Radio Generation. Time right now is 6 minutes past 8 o'clock. Thank you so much for tuning in. For those ones in Coastal, it's 90.7. In case you're wondering, what station is that that my neighbor is listening to? Well, it is Radio Generation. And the name of the show is The People's Breakfast. All right. So we're here every single morning from 6 a.m. to 10 in the a.m. Our WhatsApp number is 0116-928-683. Again, it is 0116-928-683. That's where you can find us on WhatsApp. Send us a voice note even if you'd like to contribute to the conversations that we're having here. We'll definitely check them out and include you in the conversation. CT Muga is in studio with me, and one of the conversations that we're going to be having in this particular hour, and perhaps even into the next one, is about term limits, constitutional term limits, and we are focusing on the parliamentary term limits, which of course extend to the president. What are your thoughts? Because it has been said before that 5 years ni kidogo sana. We know of countries such as the US and I think also the UK. They usually have the elections every 4 years.
And if it's for MPs in some 2 years. Oh yes, you're talking about
MP.
Congress.
Yeah. This is Congress in the US.
Yeah, 2 years.
Yeah.
You start having a conversation with the voter.
So what do you effect in 2 years really?
Well, you make sure you effect something, otherwise you're not going back.
You make sure you deliver.
You make sure you do
whatever
something.
Promises.
Oh yes, you make sure you do something.
And we've had Congress people who've been
there for decades.
Exactly.
Yes.
So you want to me every 2 years, then you have to.
They figure this guy is okay.
Yeah.
The elections are not like ours. They don't keep buying new systems, and then they don't keep giving us long stories. It is known. A time comes for the election, people, you campaign, people elect, and life goes on. It's simple, straightforward. No issue.
Yeah.
Ours issue.
Lazima MP atume goons waende mahali watandike opponent, then smear campaign. Of course, you see bloggers saying, CT was caught doing something somewhere with some people.
Kwanza CT, hata hiyo sio jina yake. In fact, he's not Kenyan.
Right. Mara, this person doesn't have an education. Mara CT alienda akasomea mahali sijui ni
jamaa vile tunaangalia alisoma Eritrea.
Na hiyo degree yake ni fake.
Na hata hiyo skuli hatujui ni gani. Kwanza hiyo University of Nairobi hiyo aliunda tu hiyo kitu hakusoma huko.
But I usually ask myself some questions. I have relatives who've actually gone to India, studied and come back with their degrees. And one famous person, that is Waititu, alikuja na degree yake ya India. akakuwa elected governor, but there was a very huge dispute, do you remember, around that degree. Alienda akasoma hiyo university inaitwa Punjab.
Punjab is a state.
Yes.
In India.
So the university was called Punjab University something.
And yes, does it exist?
I don't know.
Chances are it exists. The universities and the universities. In the US, they're what they call community colleges.
Yeah.
Okay, they're also universities. The point I'm trying to make is this. That somebody went to a university may not be in doubt. The reason why people question it is when they analyze his performance or the knowledge base you assume he has by virtue of a university education, you find gaps. Then someone says,
Kidogo,
did you actually
go to this institution?
We
have the paper, we have seen it.
We don't have a problem. And this institution also exists. We also don't have a problem.
Right.
But did you actually go? And then then conspiracy theories arise.
Yeah.
Somebody sat the exam for you, somebody did this for you.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day,
yes,
those stories will never cease.
However, mi niko na swali tu City. Saa zingine okay, ulienda Punjab. Sawa? You can't even speak one sentence in Kihindi. Utuambia tu parket kele aaye, what kai parket lad something.
No. Yeah. You can.
Me, I was in Kisumu for a whole year, and I came out of there able to speak a little bit of the Luo.
For example?
But Nishasa, we're talking about 10 years ago.
No, just speak kidogo so that we understand that you actually you remember some remnants.
Koro.
That one is well done. Sasa.
Then there's a Akisi, Nimesahau. It was 10 years ago.
Wakwitu, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You must know.
I'll remember. I'm sure if I
have never worked in Cumberland and I know Wakwitu and I also know Nessa. I know. So you cannot tell me. Of course,
the other words I know in Doluo are actually not radio worthy.
They're not consumable, easily consumable in the public domain.
Exactly. So but I know them.
What were you doing in Kisumu first of all?
I was actually a radio presenter.
In Doluo?
No. It was an English speaking station. Yeah.
The difference in Bali sana.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, the Luo na Kizungu, same WhatsApp, eh? Okay. I actually agree with you. So, going back to our governor, former governor rather, he was in...
Our?
Former governor of Kiambu.
Okay, he's not our governor.
Okay.
State is the governor of Kiambu, please.
Sawa bro. Unamkataa tu ni saa. Hata Peter alikataa Yesu.
I actually like Waititu.
Yeah. So he was allegedly in India for a 4-year degree. Right?
Yes.
Even
there are very many people who studied in India, Chief, just for starters.
Yeah.
Okay? The notion and what is not being said that these degrees from India don't work, that is actually not true. See, these are the negative narratives that we must fight. India has really very, very many universities. Okay?
True story. Okay? True story.
So it can't be that they don't exist, they do. Now, for you to decide and to determine that the university you're speaking of either is absolutely fake or it's in someone's garage, okay? You need to provide evidence.
Yeah.
Yes. So what were they saying? That Waititu's university...
There was no evidence. There was no evidence of him actually being having been in India for at least 4 years. Not even a single photo with Patel. Not a single photo with Nani. What's his name? Pandip. Not a single photo exists of former governor Waititu even with an Indian girlfriend. Nothing. Not even one.
No, I don't believe that statement.
But there's none.
No, you don't know that there's none.
But he didn't provide any.
So what?
At that time when people were asking him, okay, sir, bro, India, show us something.
It had been determined that guy was going to be gotten rid of. Even if he had 3 albums of him in India, the people would say it was Photoshop.
But at least we could have gone and said, okay, fine, you've got photos. You at least went to a university in India. He's got nothing.
No. False statement.
Have you seen a single photo of Waititu as a young person, as a young student in India?
Oh, by the way, but my discussion has nothing to do with the veracity or the reality of what we're discussing. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I am simply saying,
yes,
those who would like to determine or to assert that this man never went to India doesn't have sufficient evidence. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
That's it.
Yes. Okay. Our guest has arrived. I'm going to introduce him shortly, but before we do that, a big shout out to one Odari from Mombasa. He has WhatsApp us. Amesema, greetings to all my fans. My word on the government, it's overworking but lacking people who can talk about it. On matters of the judiciary, they are now becoming a block. To a lot of good policies like e-procurement. Okay. On matters of term limit, I believe 5 years is enough, minus the maandamanos and many disruptive actions. I mean, we must review how protests should be conducted. This is Newton Odari amesema ametoka Mombasa. Thank you so much, Newton Odari, for that particular insight. And actually, we're going to talk about that in this particular hour. With us, we do have the Senator for Nandi County, that is Senator Cherargei. Mheshimiwa, welcome to Radio Generation. It's an absolute pleasure to have you this morning.
Thank you very much and good morning.
Yes.
I'm happy to see all of you guys.
Right.
I think City Muga, I was wondering where he was. But now I know where he's hiding from. Good to be in Radio Generation.
Yes.
Thank you very much for hosting me. As you have said, I'm the Senator of the Republic of Kenya from Nandi.
Right.
You know, senators are from, not for, because we do national duties.
Yes.
So it's good to see you, and it's a pleasure to be in Radio Generation. I think this is my first time, and it's an honor to engage on issues that you have raised. Although I am surprised by the topic, but we'll go through.
Well, Newton Odari has actually touched on that particular topic already, and probably we'll start from there.
Yes.
You've been very passionate about this whole issue of term limits.
Yes.
Maybe you can tell us why that thought, where it actually emanated from, and why you think perhaps we need to consider this whole issue of term limits.
I think this discussion we have had on a number of occasions on different platforms.
Right.
And there is a confusion that is happening currently. So let me clarify. I saw the Senate did issue a statement. By the way, there are two constitutional amendment bills. One that originates from the National Assembly, which tried to entrench CDF, which the National Assembly passed. I'm surprised Kenyans did not notice that they have passed. It was put on the order paper in the Senate, but it was never done reading because the Senate Business Committee, and we did a Senate Kamkunji, we said we must host trade. So what did we do? We drafted the constitutional amendment bill originating from the Senate. So that's the second constitutional amendment bill, which we are doing public participation towards the end of this, across the 47 counties, towards the end of this month.
Okay.
Then there was my bill that had those issues that you are raising, but it went through public participation. The jailer committee is yet to table the report. And I want to clarify to Kenyans, that's a private member's bill.
Okay.
Under the standing orders, the bill can come in two forms, either by the majority leader or minority leader, what we have seen in the broad-based or what we call NADCO bills. You remember the NADCO bills?
Yes, yes.
Then there is a private member's bill, and I have sponsored a number of bills in the floor of the Senate. So, and many Kenyans disagreed with the issue of term limit. And there is a process on how that I will handle that bill before we are on recess up to around 23rd September, and then we can give way forward on that bill. But I think there was a mix-up on the three bills. Two bills, one from the National Assembly, one from the Senate. And in any case, most of these proposals to the Constitution must go through popular initiative or referendum.
Yeah.
So Kenyans should not worry. It's just a game of musical chairs, because when you look at the entrenchment of the CDF, for example, you must amend the Constitution through popular initiative. When the Senate, by the way, the only difference between the bill from the National Assembly and the Senate is that National Assembly wants to entrench CDF into the Constitution. The Senate wants to have an expanded mandate, including veto of the bills. Because at the moment, the designers, and I didn't know the people who designed 2010 never thought that would run for Senate. So what they did, they mutilated the role of the Senate, they made Senate skeleton. And in fact, the thinking of the committee of, I think the National Assembly then thought that the Senate would only miss twice or thrice the way the House of Lords in the British,
the UK,
the UK was. But when the committee of experts, and you had the review of Kenya, the 15 years when we were in the Devolution Conference, is when it was reviewed, they realized, in fact, when it went to Naivasha, the National Assembly then removed the Senate. It is the committee of experts who brought back the Senate and say to protect devolution and the interest of devolution, we must have Article 96. And that is what emanated. But on this conversation around constitutional amendment, we as a country, it's 15 years down the line. Is it now the proper time to review the constitution? You remember the calls for passing Osho was, let's amend then pass. Others were saying pass,
then amend.
Tupitishe ndio turekebishe ama turekebishe tupitishe. So that has been the conversation around it, and I want to assure Kenyans that let us be clear that there are two bills, three bills to be precise, one from the National Assembly, one from the Senate, and I think that is what Senate was responding to, and one from mine, which in the process we will either withdraw if the public overwhelming after the public participation, but you know there are processes on now. But I can confirm to the country, as you have said, it originated from me.
Yeah.
I have sponsored many bills on the issue of PS interns. I have sponsored on the County Attorney Act, which was passed. I have sponsored on the issue of anti-stock theft stealing bill.
Yes.
I have sponsored even the bill on the Amendment of Public Procurement and Disposal Act. So I have sponsored many bills. As a parliamentarian, you have a right to sponsor as a private member's bill.
Yeah.
It doesn't originate from my sponsoring party. It doesn't originate from any
This is
quarter.
your personal.
This is my bill. But on the other bills, the one, you remember the National Assembly, they had even to bring a member of parliament who was sick with an oxygen because they need the two-thirds to pass. So it is not easy. So Kenya should raise this. To amend this constitution ni kama kupanda mchongoma.
Yeah. And whatever happens, happens.
Yes.
But this is now also me just coming to you on a personal level. I just wanted to understand, and I'm sure I'm probably speaking on behalf of very many
you
Kenyans.
wanted to know the rationale.
Yeah.
The reasoning.
Yes.
But by the way, are you aware that Kenya is on campaign perpetual mood for every year? By the way, do you know we have never stopped since 2022? You have heard something about
we have never stopped since 2008.
Correct.
Campaigning.
Yes.
In fact, even from MCA, you know, and I've been in this politics for some time, and God has been gracious because I have been given a number of elections. I've gone through almost 3-4 elections since I came into politics. And I've realized even after, when you are declared as the baby after being sworn in Parliament, the following day you visit a social event like a funeral. A guy has started campaigning for an MCA for 2020. The same thing in this country. So there is bad habits. So we are wondering, could it be the reason why we don't have serious development? Is it because we are doing too much politicking? Do the people who are in seats should close their ears and eyes, use the monkey principle and concentrate on delivery?
Yeah.
So my question was, you know, I think it is 5 years too shorter for people to concentrate on what they are doing. It is not it might not be the beneficiary might not be the people in power now. The beneficiary could be even in posterity. So some of these laws, we do it for posterity. It doesn't mean that even when CDF was done in 2003 by Karue, it did not benefit the members of parliament then. It benefit even the people who passed 2010, promulgated 2010 constitution are not beneficiaries. The people who are beneficiaries are total. So we do most of these things in posterity. So we were wondering, if you look and I'm not a proponent that we should remove democracy, but if you look at the countries that are run by monarch, like UAE, like countries that have been run like Rwanda, like Saudi Arabia, Dubai, there is some semblance of a more focused development agenda as opposed to what we call glorified democracy. I'm not saying
Rwanda is not a monarchy.
No, I'm saying like countries like Rwanda
have 7 years.
7 years, even I think it was Chad or which country. That stability, the political stability, to be able to focus.
Right.
And you know, in this country, we need a benevolent dictator, for example, because you know, in this country, even if you want to construct a road near this your street, today we want to come and
George Padmore
road here.
Yes,
I'm telling you, if today you say you want, somebody will rush to court, somebody will protest, somebody will. So this country, will we believe at the mercy of too much freedom as opposed to development, because the people who use this road would want to use it daily.
Right.
Conveniently, they don't want potholes. But when you want to fix potholes, somebody will say, no, city, we don't want this road to be fixed because either they have their own interest, the political interest, economic interest. So I think at the end of the day, we must, as a country, the rationale and reasoning behind it is that we need to have a more political stable environment.
So, Senator, then is the problem our constitution, or is the problem us as Kenyans? Because no matter how many times we amend that constitution or even extend the term limits, and even say, let's say we make it even 10, does that mean that we'll stop politicking really?
Yeah, to some extent. Because in my own thinking, if it is 7 years to come, of course, you will go back to your shamba or your businesses and allow the people who have been elected to run government or to run county assembly or governors. But I think the point is, somebody will ask, and then what are the safeguards? We already have a safeguards. You saw the other day, we almost impeached a governor.
Yeah.
So we have impeached a sitting deputy president. So the fact that the fact that all this, there is already a constitutional safeguards, because somebody will say you are bringing dictatorship, but there is vote of no confidence, there is the impeachment process, there is the violation of the constitution, the incapacity. All those factors are safeguards, because somebody will ask my brother that, for example, if you say you give somebody 10 years or 7 years, in fact I was surprised when that conversation happened. Some people were saying let us have 10 years one-off. Yeah,
so
when we did public participation in KICC last year, and I remember people were saying, okay, this is the best. Why don't you 10 years one-off? Just one single term. So, this is a conversation. We are a democracy. We should have a conversation on anything and everything under the sun.
Yeah.
I have seen other people discussing about even scrapping the Senate. Other people are saying you remember the former Prime Minister when we were in the Devolution Conference in Mumbai, was even saying the counties are too much. We need to reduce. Others were saying, no, we need to have governors instead of being elected. Let us have appointed governors. So these are conversations, my brother, that will keep having, because it's a democracy.
Right.
You have my right. You have your right to say. I have my right to say. But the majority have their way. So we are just having a conversation as a country by saying, what is it that we want to achieve as a country? What is it? What is the conversation? The conversation will always, by the way, there are people who are saying, let us entrench CDF. Some people are saying, now let's take the money to governors.
Yes.
Instead, let the national, in fact, the former Prime Minister and a number of us have agreed that let the MPs concentrate on legislation, representation, oversight, and budget making process. So that they keep off because we have only 2 levels of government. So that when we are doing division of revenue, we give division of revenue to national government and the county governments. And so that's a conversation that we'll continue having.
We'll get to the
others,
CDF.
by the way, in conclusion, sorry for forgetting this,
okay.
The other people, the MCS are now saying, give us what development fund. So some people are saying, why don't the MCS do oversight, legislation, representation, and do the budget making process?
Senator, what I find strange in all these discussions, I don't hear the Council of Governors talking about how to raise own source revenue. I don't hear them discussing vigorously how county governments can trade with each other. Because you hear of a trading block. A trading block doesn't have to be outside the country. From among ourselves, because we have different strengths.
Yes.
If county governments could raise their own source revenue to the point where they could actually run on their own source revenue, to the point where they could even have a surplus, this would be a completely different discussion.
Like California or something.
Yes, but California.
No, I'm just saying.
I am agreeing with
GDP,
you.
Yes,
their GDP is a GDP that
4 countries.
Precisely.
Kenya, Rwanda, Burundi,
and
Tanzania.
Yes. Own source revenue is not a focus, and yet it should be, because when county governments are strong in trade and in business and in growth, the country is strong in business and in growth.
Correct.
Because they are within the country.
And I want to agree with you, because we were in Machakos yesterday under the ICT committee of the Senate, where I am a member, and we visited Machakos to see if they have digitized the issue of revenue. In fact, by the way, governors have succeeded to make sure ordinary mwananchi in Kisumu, where you come from, in in Nandi, in here in Nairobi, they have made sure that wananchi only focus on equitable shareable revenue.
Yes.
That is dispersed by the national
Yes.
government.
Yes.
They never talk about own source revenue.
They do
in
not.
fact, in Nairobi here, as a revenue potential, indicators of Commission of Revenue Allocation, CARA, points that CRS or a Commission of Revenue Allocation points that Nairobi has a revenue potential of own source revenue of 63 billion. But they are collecting 13 billion. But you'll never anybody discuss. Nandi, I was in Machakos. The revenue potential of Machakos, all revenue streams, the permits, the sales and everything, they have a revenue potential of 7 billion, but they are collecting 1.2 billion.
It's even more. Machakos County has industries like very few other counties have.
Correct.
Okay, within their borders.
Yes, correct.
Now, how they compute revenue, why I'm bringing this thing up is because we always seem to have very vigorous discussions on things which don't really matter. In my opinion, I'm going to say why they don't matter. This revenue, the revenue that is divided from the national government, and you put it correctly, seems to be the focus of discussion.
Correct.
It's an amount that we know. We know the amount.
Correct.
Now,
and in fact, to add to you, there is also conditional allocations of through Kenya Urban Support Program of World Bank.
Yes.
So apart an additional funds, so we have additional funds, we have funds from donors, we have own source revenue and equitable shareable revenue.
See?
But they have made us focus on equitable shareable revenue.
Own source revenue, which in my opinion is what should be the focus, because
and in addition, sorry.
Yes, no, please go ahead.
In addition, you know, we allocate around 20 billion through equitable shareable revenue to Nairobi City County.
Yes.
But if the Commission of Revenue Allocation revenue streams indicators show that they can collect 63 billion. So imagine if Nairobi could get 60 billion in their own source revenue, they would not need 20 billion
they would
from national treasury.
Or they would have a surplus.
Yes, correct, to give it to national government.
You see, I am of the view that when we talk of national development and we talk about increasing our GDP, increasing our revenue, the focus on the national government and activities of KRA. But the activities that are the clear indicators of economic growth should be in the counties. Correct. And it should be county focused. Because when it's county focused, then, as I said, you aggregate them, it becomes a national aggregate. Correct. But that discussion is not had.
Because the Council of Governors, even when they rejected the e-procurement, the Council of Governors would not be keen for the spotlight to be on them.
That is a cartel. I don't know why it is that Council of Governors.
But you know, it's never entrenched. We have told them, can you entrench? Because I sit in Senate Public Accounts Committee, they use their funds to fund. By the way, they allocate 5 million per county. So that means for 7 counties. It is like the CAF. They also these county assemblies
what's
run by the
5 million?
speakers.
What's the 5 million for?
That is why we have queried, and that is why we normally tell them to surcharge them to refund the money. Because under the Intergovernmental Technical Relations Committee, IGRTC, and even the Act, we have told them if you want COG to be funded, you must allow them to be the legal framework.
Yes.
You know, you cannot spend without the legal framework. Everything you must spend within the legal framework. So we have challenged them, and that is why they don't want the e-procurement. They have gone to court to block the e-procurement because, you know, the pending bill of counties is approaching 200 billion. There are many businessmen and women in Makueni, in Garissa, in Nandi, in Kisumu, in Busia that are dying out of diabetes and depression because they have supplied to the counties and they have never been paid.
Yes.
But when you come to National Treasury, their money has been released. Even their own source revenue, and that is why we do receiver of revenue audit by the OAG under Article 229. They have done the receiver of revenue, they have done on the equitable shareable revenue, conditional and allocation funds that we give to counties. The money has been received, the work has been done, but the contract has not been paid. For example, Nairobi is leading. I think Nairobi has a pending bill approaching 100 billion plus. And you see some counties are spending. I'm told Nairobi has a legal pending bill of 2 billion Kenya shillings.
Yeah.
You remember, I think one of the city lawyers, you know, I saw somebody saying city lawyer has been shot. Another city lawyer said he defended a land against by Nairobi city worth 8 billion, and he was looking for legal fees of 1 billion. So I'm telling you,
Donald Korir?
Okay. I don't want to disclose. You know, you never know.
We read the papers and we know exactly
okay.
making those claims. Yes.
The own source revenue, and I'm happy this conversation is happening in this red generation. The spotlight should be on counties and governors.
I am in full agreement.
Because they need to raise their own revenue.
They do.
They have no option. But they raise, but they eat it. Because when we saw, and I saw what they normally do, for example, in Nandi, they issue 2 receipts with 1 serial number. So you find if they are collecting in Mosoria Township, they collect 300 shillings. They produce similar receipts in Nandi's town.
Yes.
Say that one will disappear. And I remember there was a time Nandi was collecting around 600,000 plus in a day, but when they are taking to account to deposit that was it the KCB in Kapsabet town, 100,000 would get lost between being tabulated by county treasury to the time being taken to, from the governor's office to the KCB is less than 100 meters. But between here, almost 100,000 disappears. Those are revenue leakages. Every single day. And Nairobi is worse, of course. Mombasa is worse,
Believe me, it is all over the country. Now it's a question of who loses more money. You see?
Yes.
Because own source revenue, which should be the focus of county governments, is not the focus of county governments. They are governments.
And that is where governors eat. Because they know the money that comes from the national treasury is under requisition. And by the way, we were taking to task control of budget, Margaret Nyakango, because the CO, counties do requisitions.
Yes. They do.
Then when they do requisitions, there is what we call voiding of payments, where you take when you are requesting to control our budget, you are paying Mbuvi, but you end up paying CT Muga. It's called voiding of payments.
Right.
So you find governors will pay the politically right suppliers and leave the genuine suppliers. And we were asking the COP to give us a legal framework with the national treasury. And e-procurement was part of the cure, because we were saying on this voiding of payment, which is, by the way, for example, Nandi did avoiding payments of 700 million. Sometimes they accuse FMEs, but this is corruption. Because you are telling COB, I want 100 million to pay Mbuvi.
Yes.
But when that money comes out through IB from the CRF account, county revenue fund from the national treasury, I pay CT. So that is corruption, and that is how they are stealing. So this issue of voiding of payments, and we have told controller of budget Mary Nyagango that this issue of voiding of payments must stop, because that is how counties are misappropriating and stealing funds. You remember when even the Kericho case, the impeachment that we just had, 85 million was paid fictitious payments through companies that did not do supplies or services or goods to the county government of Kericho. 85 million was misappropriated. It was among the charges that the governor faced before the impeachment proceedings. And by the way, for information of Kenyans, we don't impeach. We are a trial chamber. Impeachment happens at county assembly. Even in the impeachment of the former sitting deputy president, the National Assembly was the ones impeaching. We are only a trial chamber. We only try those impeachment charges. So when you look at this issue of corruption, and in the next 1 hour or so, we are meeting the EACC to discuss the status on the fight against corruption in counties. Because we are seeing a case where the issue of revenue leakages, it is by design. You go somewhere and ask counties, you have digitized your revenue.
Yes.
Who owns them? They are not the one.
Who owns that?
And they pay agency fee up to 10-15%. So if they are collecting 1 million in a day, 15%.
So 150,000.
Correct. So this is, and you are being told there is revenue leakages. You are being told there is a revenue stream like cess, collecting of butchery fee. For example, the slaughtering fee. They are yet to collect the sales fee. And I agree with the danger also with this issue of counties. There is also an element of double taxation. Because if I'm buying machine cuts blocks from Thika,
yes,
I come to Nairobi, I pay cess. I get into Nakuru, I pay cess. I get into Kericho, I pay cess. I get into Kisumu, where the final destination, I want to construct a house in Awasi. So there is an element of also double taxation that is also affecting the growth of business in the country, as you have said. Because the more we overtax, the more we sharing the business space. Because if I'm taking something from Nairobi all the way to Awasi, where I want to construct a house, there are many sales points that I'll have to pay. So we also must ensure that the tax regime in counties should not be retrogressive.
But these are discussions.
It should be more progressive.
I have to ask this question. This Council of Governors, what do they discuss when they meet?
That is the point. We wanted them to have a legal framework on Council of Governors so that we can have such conversation. Because I remember the American Tower Company were constructing these masts. They have paid CAK. They have paid all their licenses, but when they go to Kiambu, they want to erect the mast. They are being told you must pay by the county government of Kiambu, for example. So where are we? Are we undermining the growth of business? Yes, we are, because we are allowing double taxation. They have paid national government for a license from CAK, Communication Authority of Kenya. You have paid everything. Then when you want to go and install your mast, you are being told by Kiambu County government, no. You have to pay the public health. And that is why when you work to some of these businesses in this city and across, the whole world like yours is mosaic. Because you have a certificate of public health, sijui water company, sijui music copyright society of Kenya, sijui elders, Triki Elders Council, sijui nini. All those things are being put here. So at the end of the day, I agree there is a big challenge that we must agree as a nation that for devolution to succeed.
Yes.
Is we must agree with you that also, by the way, in conclusion, we were in 15 years reviewing devolution, and you realize county governments, our counties 47 have received 4 trillion Kenya shillings. Can you see 4 trillion in
we actually having that conversation here yesterday with CT.
Yes.
But one thing I also want to ask in the same breath, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga said that is it governors should no longer be answerable to the Senate?
Yes.
What first of all, what did he mean by that, and how did the Senate react to this news?
No. First, let me finish on the issue of 4 trillion. So the question is, can you see 4 trillion across the? No. Number 2, we have reduced counties to become employment bureaus, because by the way, Kisii County Executive is the highest. You know, the wage bill city is 35% should go to wage bill.
Yes.
But Kisii has 57. Nairobi is worse. Nandi is approaching 60%. What does it mean? The money that goes to development will shrink. Yet the principle of development is 30%. That is why when you go to Mashinani and ask kazi ya county go up, wananchi will tell you we don't want county because they have not, and that is why they are comparing with CDF.
Yes.
You know, CDF, they don't hire anybody.
No.
They just do program based, and that is why you see development happening. Secondly, on what former Prime Minister said on the issue of the role of oversight by the Senate, I think he was just playing to public gallery. Because if you remember the Oparanya case, Oparanya refused to appear before the Senate Public Accounts Committee. He went to court. He went up to Supreme Court. The Supreme Court told him, you must appear before the Senate. Article 96, we play oversight. And in fact, we play oversight on equitable revenue and any other revenue that goes to the counties. By the way, there are 2 levels of oversight. There is the primary oversight, which is done by county assemblies, and there is the secondary oversight, which is done by the Senate. And in any case, those roles have never clashed, because the courts have ruled. Many people have moved to court to challenge the role of the Senate in the oversight. And that is why all governors must and should appear before the Senate when called upon. The concern, many people misread what the former Prime Minister said.
Yes.
What his worry was that governors were appearing on all committees, standing committees, ICT, health, devolution. His argument was that the governor should appear only before Senate Public Accounts Committee and Senate Public Investment Committee on the issue of PIC. But the point is, Article 96 has given us power to do the oversight. So I think the law is that governors should and must appear before even after former Prime Minister made that statement, governors continue to appear before us, because that is the law. The moment they stop appearing, they will be exposing themselves to legal reprisals or even ground for impeachment by the county assemblies. And when they come to the Senate, if one of the charges will say they did not appear before the Senate as by the Constitution, and that is abuse of office, we will impeach them.
Sir, let me ask you one question. When you are elected and then sworn as a senator or a member of the National Assembly, is there any training you go through in order for you to understand how to conduct business in those houses?
This called retreat. At the beginning of every session, the Senate or National Assembly organize a retreat. In fact, we also do it mid-term. So at the beginning of after being sworn in, there's normally 1 week and members are taken through a crash program. Because there is no time also to go and study. Yeah.
So it's 1 week.
It's 1 week.
And what are you?
They are being told maybe what runs the house, like how standing orders operate, the constitution, the order paper, the drafting of bills, statements, motions. You are taken on those spectra. But it's up to you to scale the heights. You know, you chew the gum as you scale the stairs. So you must learn.
You learn on the job.
You learn on the job, because if we were to take you to school, when will you serve the people?
There's a reason why I ask this.
And then in midterm, so that I finish, in midterm also, you do the retreats. And by the way, to be also, another aspect is that individuals, committees normally go to retreat, like during report writing. So it's part of also engagement. So even individual committees, when I was the chairperson of JLAC, sometimes we used to invite, for example, a resource person like you, maybe on media. That's why sometimes we engage media. Media tells us what Parliament is and what they expect of us. We engage, you remember also we are being hosted by Kenya Private Sector Alliance of, is it private sector? Sometimes we engage, I remember Vimal Shah used to chair Private Sector Media Council of Kenya, where you colleagues run from. So even people, experts, we have the power as a house to, as a committee individually, maybe a committee of ICT, we normally sit with the stakeholders of ICT and have a discussion on the legal framework around it and the oversight of those infrastructure. So it is what we call working, and also to learn on the job, because you're asking whether training is, we do county visits. Like yesterday we visited Machakos on a fact finding. You learn on the job. So it's part of building capacity of a member of parliament. So that we don't have people saying Uziguze Morema and they have never left Nairobi.
I look at the role that is played by the county assemblies,
yes,
and the members of the assembly.
Yes.
They are also legislative in nature.
Correct.
But the capacity for them to legislate effectively, because you talk about double taxation.
But you go back to Elections Act. Because what is the qualification to be an MCA?
You've taken me where I was going. Precisely.
But when the parliament wanted to pass the law, you are being told, and I agree, that leadership does not come from academic papers.
No, actually, leadership has to begin with a certain minimal education.
Correct.
Okay.
But these people said, you remember, and I know you have lived on this earth long enough, that to be elected member of parliament those days was to know how to read and write.
It made sense at independence.
Yes.
The thing about education
is
the exposure it gives your mind.
Correct.
And the understanding that increases with that exposure.
But you remember we have struggled with that elections amendment on academic qualification. We have really struggled. Because you are saying a governor and the president must have a degree. Then you say the people oversight them is...
Don't have to.
Yeah, you don't have to. You need post Form 4. For example, post Form 4, baby elementary education. So the question, if I have a PhD in economics and I'm a governor and I'm being oversighted by an MCA who came from Kericho, he said he could not express himself in English, for example. Honorable Hamus Birir from Kapkatet, he said even he doesn't know how to use, I hope you watch the proceedings, he doesn't know to use even this anatomia mulikamuzi, which this one.
He can't use a smartphone.
A smartphone, that is where I'm coming from. So and we are technology. How do you oversight through technology? If that is the quality of leaders. I agree, by the way, many people don't know, I agree leadership does not necessarily come from academics. But I agree with you that it exposes you, it gives you basic understanding of what you should be doing.
You see,
I'm telling you, it's a hot potato. Put that conversation today.
You know
anybody, senior politician, will not touch that topic.
What are you on the
But actually, we must touch it.
Yes. Yeah.
We must touch it, because if our interest is to actually grow this country as we keep talking,
correct,
the people who help it grow must have a certain, the foundation must be of a certain knowledge that you have.
Correct.
And then you move along from that.
Correct.
Okay? You see, why I'm saying this is, I began by talking about counties and what counties need to do in terms of own source revenue.
So you can imagine the architecture. It needs that.
Yes.
That knowledge, that understanding.
Somebody has to be able to even envision. So when you say they actually see it.
Imagine here in Nairobi, if you are an MCA, they must approve annual development plan, the CIDPs, County Integrated Development Plan. For example, the change of approval plans of Kilimani here, for example. You need somebody who can architecture. You need somebody who can architect actuarial science. You need somebody who can understand the legal regime. You need somebody who can understand. Because running this the 60% of GDP is in Nairobi. You leave Nairobi, the earning, somebody said, you don't earn nothing, zero. So I agree with you that, for example, the MCA of Kilimani, the MCA of Roysambu, or wherever they come, and I had Dr. Kipngetich, I think Dr. Julius, is it Dr. Julius, saying that Nairobi is far much too important to be left to MCAs.
But he is not wrong.
Because we must, let me finish my thought.
Yes.
Even my argument has been, I'm a great supporter of MCAs and champion of devolution.
Yeah.
But I think we must reconsider making Nairobi a metropolis or a very, to be managed at different level.
With a CEO.
Correct?
No. We actually need to devolve it further.
Yes.
You've heard the talk of boroughs.
Yeah. Yes, boroughs, yes.
Nairobi has cities within cities.
Correct.
These cities must be semi-autonomous. You honestly cannot run Nairobi from one hub. You can't.
You can't. Like when you go to Europe or America, they are run as boroughs, as you have said. Like Kilimani should be run on its own.
Yes.
You go to Lavington, you go to Karen, you go to Roysambu, Eastlands, and all those places. You go to Kawangwara. It is run those ways.
You bring service closer to the people. Yes. Now, this entirety of what we call Nairobi.
Yes.
Everybody has to go to City Hall to get services. My friend, you know, it actually doesn't work.
It doesn't. And that is why it's clogged.
It actually can't work.
Yes.
And if
that is why the governor, you had an MCA saying the governor has relocated to private office. Because he can no longer stay in CBD. Because that pressure. And that is why somebody was saying we need to rethink the running of Nairobi.
Yeah.
I know it will need a referendum because, you know, counties have been entrenched, but we must have that conversation. We must say, how do we run Nairobi?
Senator, the referendum aside, this very constitution that we have has a roadmap as to how we can actually do it.
Correct.
This is not something that is impossible to do. Okay?
I think on Nairobi City, I agree with you. Nairobi is far much too important to live to 60 MCS. And one governor and a few CCs.
No.
We must ensure, because it's dysfunctional. Here, outside your office, the road has potholes. You just drive behind.
Serious potholes.
Even here, as you join Kindaruma Road, the potholes, your car can disappear. In fact, when you are driving a Vitz, your car will disappear. You might need and you know, county Nairobi is funny. When you have such accident, they will send you the fire engine. And there is no fire. So you can imagine here in Kilimani only, where your studios are situated.
Yeah.
The roads are pathetic. So you can imagine when you go to Kawangware, you go to Eastlands, you go to
Senator,
all these
questions are difficult, even with reference to how we should.
But it is important that we are discussing it now.
Because the minimum requirement to say for leadership, I'm still going back there.
Yes.
We are in a quagmire that we seem to continue being in, and we never seem to get out of it. And yet, we are the same Kenyans who argue that we have an abundance of human resource.
Correct.
Okay?
In Africa, not in Kenya only.
Now, this abundance,
yes,
somehow when it comes to our politics, we don't want to utilize it. Because the decision-making process that elected leaders like yourselves are involved in, with devolution, a wonderful thing.
Yes.
We get to that level, you want to scratch the bottom of the barrel. You do not want to start the structure with people who already have a certain educational advantage when it comes to being able to prosecute whatever it is they've been elected for. So you then ask the question, the things that we are discussing and we're talking about and which could move the counties forward, so long as we have this particular roadblock at that level, the county governments will really never move.
And by the way, the intention, and I want to thank the drafters and the Kenyans, the intention of devolution was very noble. Because we wanted people in your village, somewhere in Awase, to say our problem is flooding. So what do? We have resources from Nairobi. Governor is in Kisumu. This way in Nandi the same. We have a problem in roads in Mosop. Somebody in Nairobi will not know in National Treasury where Mosop is.
They have no idea.
But governor in Kapsabet will know where Mosop is and which road to be fixed. So then the intention of devolution was to bring power and resources closer to people to decide on their problems. Because when you are in Kisumu, when you are Makueni, you are in Machakos, the problems Nairobi face and Kiambu are totally different. So the intention of devolution by the was very noble. Because you were thinking, if you centralize, somebody in Ministry of Education will not know that some children somewhere in Kibera, for them to attend school, they don't have food. What do? You that's to feeding program. Although there was a program called Dish in a County, but that one a Dish County. So there is Dish in a County, but one a Dish County here in Nairobi. Yeah. So the point is, we needed this devolution to go to barrows, as we have said. For example, if you are to call a meeting for Kilimani here, their problems could be different. They might want potholes to be repaired. But when you go to Awase, they don't have a road. They want a road to be fixed. So the intention of devolution was very noble. It was intentional to bring equity development. Because I was discussing with some governors, and I was talking to a friend from Mandera, and they were telling me in Garissa, in Marsabit, they were telling me before devolution happened, yes, in every financial year, for even 1 billion to city to get to Mandera was hard. But now they are getting billions. Yes. And when I went to Mandera and saw the 10 years of devolution, a lot has changed. Although there are challenges of Jubaland, forces occupation in that region and what have you, the issue of Al-Shabaab and insecurity. You go to Marsabit, you go to Garissa, they are telling me, to them in the national budget before devolution, they used to get, at most, Garissa, for example, would get 500 million. But now, courtesy of devolution, they are getting billions. But does it give value? So now we have devolved corruption.
Have we realized then the dream of devolution? Or
we have not for the last 14 years, and I've told you counties have received close to 4 trillion, but we are yet to receive. I think we got confused. We turn counties into what we call employment bureaus, where a new governor fires few people, hires new ones. You have seen we are spending also the wastage. Yes. By the way, I saw another governor, I don't know whether from Narok, governor of Narok. When I saw his convoy, it's more than the president. I was shocked.
Olen Tutu.
Yes. But a few months ago, they were going to Seganani.
Senator.
To open a project worth 10 million, and the vehicles that were, the fuel that was being consumed is more than what they were being launched. So the question is, there is a wasteful public expenditure within counties. One, they also train. This training you are talking about, and they must love you for that, because you are talking about trainings. They will want to leave Nandi, hotels in Kapsabet, and go and train in Mombasa.
Yes.
They will pay higher tickets. They will pay per diem.
Yes.
They will pay meals.
Yes.
They will pay facilitators like you. I'm not saying you are facilitator, but I'm just using as an example.
Yes, I'm a good example.
Yes, you are a good example.
And you want to be facilitated.
you want to be facilitated. So when you look at, when you come down and look at, I saw in OAG report of 2023-2024, Nandi used 42 million to do higher services.
Yes.
42 million. And there are no roads. The governor of Nandi decided, I need to hire Prado and double cap 12,000 per day. They are much more important than drugs in Kapsabet County Referral Hospital. Or roads. And the roads counties do feeder roads where they just grade and put mara. But he has realized, no. Let me do a kaya hire of 42 million. I'm too important to be using some junkies, 42 million. But yet the bursary is 60 million. So the question is the priorities, and that is why now the MCS come in. Because they are the ones doing that budget. By the time the governor put 42 million to do higher services, for example,
right,
that budget was approved by the county assembly. Now it comes to the capacity that you are talking about.
Precisely it.
Correct.
I want to go back as the time is winding down to the term limits.
Yes.
Our structure mirrors that of the US.
But I saw the fake bill saying I had given everybody term limit. From MCA to the president. And it means it might pass quickly because everybody will be cut out for.
You are a politician And once you speak,
Yes.
whatever you speak will be subject.
But I've never spoken about
will be
this issue,
subject to scrutiny and addition as people see fit.
but by the way, yes.
What they call the House of Representatives in the U.S.
Yes.
have a 2-year term.
Congress.
2-year term.
Yes.
Senate.
Yes, and then
Senate,
midterm. Yes.
They have midterm. Senate, 6 years.
Yes.
You see, I'm giving this example for one reason. When you talk about term limits, there's nowhere where it is mandated that it must be uniform. The need to have a discussion about what works for us, as opposed to just throwing the number of years at people.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
All right? The French have a very good reason why they changed the terms to 7. There's a reason, there's logic behind it. They didn't always have it, but experience has taught them that was why they went about it the way they did. When we look at the decisions that are made by both houses, are these decisions always in the best interest of the citizens?
But politics is about interest.
That is why I have asked
And then there's
about the
interest
interest.
of the people.
There's
There's the interest of the people.
Is it
So
possible?
I agree with you. I agree with you that that we must relook what is the interest. For example, I agree. You have given a good example of the U.S. Because after every 2 years, they go.
You have to go back.
I think the midterm, Americans doing it this year or next year.
House of Representatives, 2 years.
I think this year.
Yes.
Yes. Then the Senate has 6 years.
Yes.
There is a reason to that, and I agree with you. Even the president 4 years.
The reason why I'm saying what I'm saying, Senator, is because of something very, very simple. Politicians in this country don't seem to understand that when you focus on the interest of those who elected you, you're actually focusing on your own interest.
Correct.
They seem to have invested thinking that when they look after their interest, then they'll be able to look after the interest of the people. Yet, when the people's interests are looked after, you are secure.
Agreed.
Absolutely
Because if you
secure.
deliver, you are sure of your re-election.
You are secure.
Whether it is two-term or such matters.
Senator, I want us to take a very short break. We do a little bit of news. Then when we return, I have a lot of questions actually, also in regards to the Senate.
What time do you want to leave?
You don't hold me too much.
Don't worry. We won't hold you for a very long time, but a few more questions before we let you go. So don't go too far. We'll be right back.
You can send me the questions after. Maybe I can answer through the social media.
Okay.
All right. We'll be right back shortly.
The sound is fine, pump it up, turn it high all the time. Let the music move you, let's sway. Radio G's got your jam all day.
Radio Generation, the home of urban soul. This is the Radio Generation News.
Good morning, I'm Winnie Maganga. Kenya is set to carry out its first ever national survey on mental health, with a newly inaugurated advisory committee expected to oversee and guide the landmark exercise. The Ministry of Health on Tuesday launched the National Advisory Committee, the National Baseline Mental Health Survey, which will generate the country's first national representative data on mental health conditions. The advisory team, chaired by Health Director General Patrick Amoth and represented at the launch by Dr. Bashir Isaac, Head of Family Health, will provide oversight and direction throughout the survey. The Central Organization of Trade Unions has urged the Senate to withdraw and re-examine the Business Laws Bill, saying it goes against key constitutional safeguards on workers' rights and unionization. Otu said the bill is inconsistent with Article 41 of the Constitution, which guarantees the right to trade union membership, and warned that its provision could severely weaken protection for workers in Kenya's fast-growing technology and digital economy sectors. In a statement, Otu Secretary General Francis Atwoli said the bill introduces measures that risk limiting workers' access to justice and eroding fundamental freedoms protected under Article 10, 27, 41, 47, 48, and 108 of the Constitution. The Supreme Court is warning against Kenya's long history of mistrust in elections. In its latest advisory opinion on the mandate of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, the court said the legitimacy of Kenya's democracy depends not just on strong institutions, but also on leaders respecting the constitution and the will of the people. The judges recalled how the country's elections have repeatedly faced credibility questions, from the Kriegler Commission findings after the 2007-2008 post-election crisis to the legal battles that followed the 2022 presidential vote. The National Police Service Commission has revealed that the budget for the recruitment of 10,000 police constables was directly allocated to the National Police Service. This undermined their ability to independently and effectively discharge its recruitment mandate. Appearing before the Committee on Administration and Internal Security, NPSC Chair Amani Yuda and CEO Peter Lelei said the forthcoming recruitment might be jeopardy following the budget allocation impasse.
In terms of the recruitment of the 10,000 constables, whose budget, again through this committee and the National Assembly, was appropriated.
The current challenges in executing the functions, including any overlaps that impede effective policing and governance.
We are generally in concurrence with our colleagues from the command side in terms of ensuring that we attain the shortest time possible because of the urgency with which we are expected to deliver on this.
US President Donald Trump has said Israel's strike on Hamas targets in Qatar does not advance Israel or America's goals, adding that he feels very badly about the location of the attack. In a Truth Social post on Tuesday, Trump said he was notified that Israel was attacking Hamas in the capital Doha by the US military, but it was unfortunately too late to stop the attack. He said the decision was made by Israel's Prime Minister Netanyahu and not by him, before praising Qatar as a strong ally and friend. Here's the White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt.
President Trump immediately directed Special Envoy Witkoff to inform the Qataris of the impending attack, which he did. The president views Qatar as a strong ally and friend of the United States and feels very badly about the location of this attack.
So is the president upset with Netanyahu now?
The president made his thoughts and concerns about this very clear, and he spoke again both to Prime Minister Netanyahu and also the Emir and the Prime Minister of Qatar after this attack. And the president has always made it very clear that he wants peace in the Middle East, just like he sought that and accomplished that in his first term. He expects all of our allies and friends in the region, that includes both Qatar and Israel, to seek peace as well. And he wants to see that happen, and he's working with all of our allies in the region to get that done.
And that's the truth on Radio Generation. Good morning. I'm Winnie Maganga.
In the beginning, there was morning radio. But now there is Radio Generations, the people's breakfast. Curious and bold, getting facts from the shadows.
That's what it is.
Now, as the city wakes and secrets stir, a bright new voice shines. The people's breakfast. Your morning, your voice, your journey. Good morning.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Welcome to the home of hard truths and bold insights. Radio Generation.
Welcome back. This is Radio Generation. The time right now is 7 minutes past 9 o'clock. Senator ametuambia tumpatie dakika 5 alafu atoke. This is a senator from Nandi County. Umesema tuseme from
Republic of Kenya, from Nandi.
Ah, got you. So Senator from Nandi County, Samson Cherargei, welcome back to the studio, sir.
Thank you.
We're just talking about basically the Senate and how it operates, and some of the things you've mentioned, by the quite important, and especially about oversight. And I think maybe perhaps going forward, and I think the constitution is very young, if you ask me.
Yes.
There's this question
It's a teenager, is a bubbling teenager, it's 15 years.
Yes. Do you think?
Maybe
Sorry.
I can conclude by saying,
Right.
I didn't conclude this, but because on the oversight, because we are discussing the operations of the Senate,
Yes.
is many people have accused Parliament and largely Senate for abetting corruption in counties. Many people don't know that Senate only recommends. So when we listen to Nairobi City County or Nandi, for example, we do our consideration of the audit reports and recommend maybe to EACC, to DCI, to professional bodies like ISPAC. By the way, when we find audit issues and we find professional misconduct, we normally refer for ISPAC for professional misconduct, even LSK and many other bodies. So many Kenyans should understand that Parliament only recommends for either investigation and possible prosecution. And that is why many people get mad and say, what is Parliament doing about corruption? For example, why is county stealing? What is Senate doing? The only thing we can do is to recommend to EACC, for example, to investigate.
Yes.
And that is where our and maybe follow up, like the way we want to do today with the EACC, maybe to ask them, we did refer an issue of legal fees in Nairobi City. There was a breach somewhere in Kericho that was not fixed. There was an unpayment of staff or statutory deductions by Garissa County government. What are you doing about? So so that Kenyans understand and your listeners understand, Parliament or the Senate only make recommendation for investigation and prosecution. I think Kenyans believe that it is us who should. Then we should amend the constitution and give us powers to prosecute. Because even after EACC has investigated or DCI, the DPP must look at the file.
Yes.
They can either return for enrichment or prosecute. And you remember the Obado case that the EACC and DPP are fighting over. I think there was a plea agreement that they refund, I think 300 plus around 300 million. The case was worth 5 or 3 million. So those are some of the issues we are facing with the fight against corruption in counties. And I think going into the future, we will need to refocus. And therefore, I wanted to tell Kenyans that the only role Parliament and National Assembly and the Senate is to recommend. What does recommendation mean? Either it goes through or not. So if EACC investigates and they don't find a case, it collapses there. If they investigate and then to DPP says this case is not prima facie case, that is why people are arguing that there is a weak link in the fight against corruption. The fight against corruption and oversight are intertwined. Because when we disperse money to fix the road, that money gets lost. It is up to the necessary agencies to do the trail of that money and ensure. And that is why, by the way, in conclusion, we did pass the Conflict of Interest Act, which the President signed. By the way, it's part to punish corruption and also to enrich oversight. The issue of Anti-Money Laundering Act that was passed to ensure that the money that is being stolen through corruption and unknown sources cannot be laundered by buying property in Kilimani and across the country, or buying property in Dubai or wherever, or taking it to Cayman Islands, or there was the famous papers that were published. Was it Pandora? It was called. There was a name that were the papers. There is also those tax haven countries, and I think the issue of Conflict of Interest Act, the issue of anti-money laundering, the issue of Anti-Economic Crimes Act that was passed in 2003. All this is to enrich oversight, because people will say money came, it was budgeted, but we don't see the project.
Last but not least, there's a question here about the issue of Senator Oruoba. What do you think is going to happen in that particular situation? Because
why?
Because the court said one thing, and then we have this other situation where another person was actually sworn in.
That is overtaken by events. You know very well that in fact, my advice is for her to pursue payment of salary in full and other benefits
for the remainder of the term.
Yeah, because somebody else has been sworn in. It's like the former impeached deputy president. He cannot get back to office. The only way to get justice is to push for the benefits and salaries, for example. As long as the courts do not find him with an offense or violating the law. I think now that new senator has been sworn in, the matter rests there. I saw the drama that tried to happen at the gate. Kenya is very interesting because you might have a court order, but that is it. Just have a court order.
That is because we're in Kenya. Yet a court order should mean something, shouldn't it?
But the court order came late after the new, by the time, by the way, when somebody, let me just, for your listeners and for the benefit of this discussion, there is a process before you are being sworn in. So I don't know what she did until the party deregistered her.
Yes.
Until the IBC gazetted. until being sworn in ndio unapata court order. So it is a process. So by the time somebody is gazetted, is done this and this, being sworn in, yet there is no court order, and then it is hard because. Yeah,
but then there's the court process which she can't determine, and she has no control over.
But you know, the courts can tell you your mother is being heard and determined, but they don't give you orders.
Okay.
You remember there was a governor who moved to court and wanted to challenge, I think, Governor Guyo, the criminal proceedings. Luckily, he got a court order to stop criminal. There is a governor who went for anticipatory bail, but he didn't succeed. And the courts told them, we just go and suspect yourself to the legal process. So what happened in this case is that the legal process is ongoing, but the other processes are ongoing because there is no court stopping them. Like e-procurement, if the governor said
saying they could have stopped that process.
If he had brilliant legal minds, they should have argued that we are at risk of being registered.
So let's stop this process.
First, let us get a court order stopping everything.
As the court determines the next action.
Correct.
So
okay.
So hapo alifikwa kaput.
Thank you very much, Senator Cherargei. It's been an absolute pleasure having you in studio.
Yes.
Maiden.
Yes. Called maiden appearance.
And we thank you for honoring the invitation.
No, I will come again. We'll have this because when we stop talking together, we start fighting.
Sure.
So let's have this conversation. And I'm happy it's called radio generation.
Yes.
And I'm happy that you are being listened to areas.
Right.
That many others do not have coverage.
Yes.
And I'm impressed. I hope soon we shall have it around North Rift.
Oh, yes.
So that when I'm in my village in Nandi, I can tune in.
You can tune in and listen.
And also send a few texts or tweets.
But this, Senator, let me ask you something. This is, off the politics.
Yes.
People usually see what is happening between politicians and munachupiana cheche nyingi sana.
Yes.
For example, between you and the current CS for Interior.
Yes.
Is that usually a skit, but it's actually real?
No, but I'll answer that question on two parts. One is that as politicians, you're asking me, those are people in executive. Let me answer. As politicians, we are friends, all of us. By the way, even from different formations, we eat in the same restaurant, we eat in the same lounge, we travel in the same vehicles,
right?
We go to the same meetings. What you see on the microphone ends there.
Yeah.
Our families interact, our children interact. So hiyo ni vipindi. So usidanganywe. That is why your former friend MP, was it before Luwakoli? He said wanasiasa ni mashetani. Because by the way, when Kenyans come to parliament and see some of us sitting with people you imagine we are fighting off, some people will die of heart attack.
Right.
On the matter of CS Interior, that is incompetence and underperformance, and that is why I've been very clear on him.
Yeah.
And we don't have any relationship with him.
Okay.
It's just on the issue of incompetence and ability to deliver under the Ministry of Interior. That's why you see there are rising cases of muggings in town, and I'm happy media you are lighting. You saw even drive-in shootings that we are seeing through border.
Yes.
We have seen criminal elements burning matatus because however tragic accidents are, it should not reduce ourselves to burning property. We are now encouraging lawlessness and arsonism in the country. So that incompetence, and this comes in after doing what we call jukwaa la usalama. And that jukwaa la usalama is reduced to jukwaa la kisiasa.
Yeah.
Because when he came to Nandi, there are many issues was raised on issue of alcohol, illicit. By the way, in Kapsabet, like 100 meters from Kapsabet police station, somebody was killed the other day. Markings are happening. This issue was discussed in jukwaa la usalama. But because he has turned it into jukwaa la kisiasa, he just wrote notes and nothing has been done about the situation in security in my county, for example.
Yeah.
Because I'm familiar with it. Nairobi is not going concern. You are living at the mercy. By the way, that's why when you are working in town, you must keep your phone or your valuables.
If you were president, what docket would you give him then?
No, there would be no docket. He would not even serve as a village elder. Because he's incompetent.
Someone is saying, I'm happy with how the senator answers his questions. What do you think about Ruto at 3?
No, President Ruto's government has delivered very well. I'm happy one of your sister stadiums covered yesterday, Mukuru kwa Njenga. We have that success story. Affordable housing program, we are doing very well. Education reforms are a bit tricky, but I'm happy grade 9, the transition is happening. The university funding model, we have reviewed the visa, and I'm happy because us, we are what we call overqualified social workers. Every day, every weekend, you are either in Harambee for medical bills, for school fees. So I'm happy that review. Another success story which is facing a lot of headwinds is on the SHA. If SHA works, by the way, it will reduce a number of Harambes. I know all of you are in WhatsApp groups too for medical bills. I mean, 4 currently. Mine I can't mention. If I give you my phone, you'll collapse. So we hope that SHA can work. I know there are many challenges. There are many concerns. As a Senate ICT committee, yesterday we have agreed that we need to do system audit. By writing to OAG to do system audit of the SHA so that we can get, because when we went to Machakos, for example, they were telling us they are being owed 500 billion Kenya shillings by SHA. So these are things that we can work with. Another issue that the president is on infrastructure. I'm happy that the pending bills has been paid. You can see at least a number of tarmac roads, even in Nandi and here in Nairobi and across the country. You can see there is slow but steady reopening of roads, especially on tarmac. The issue of electricity to the Mashinani and many other areas, that is something we are still working on. The issue of devolution, at least the disbursements has come timely. The issue on the fight against corruption, I'm happy the president has given political goodwill, even calling out parliament, calling out judiciary, calling out counties on the fight against corruption. So all these factors, the president at 3, in my own opinion, has performed exceptionally well, more than the 4 combined presidents since independence. Exceptionally well, considering this, even on the status of economy. You know, when President Uhuru left, he had given the government of President William Ruto 3 months to collapse because he knew the economy was doing badly. But at least the economy has stabilized, despite the challenges of protests that we saw at the beginning of the year. On the issue of finance bill, I know there is what we call, I saw some newspaper which has reduced itself to a tabloid by saying there is a debt crisis. But they are not telling the country. And I know ICT Muga is laughing. He knows that newspaper. I don't know. And those people are new in Jerusalem. Yeah. Because President Uhuru Kenyatta left this country with a debt of 10 trillion Kenya shillings. No one is discussing about it. But you know, you have to borrow. When we wanted to raise revenue through finance bill, Kenyans went on the streets and said no taxes. But they want development. And there are only 2 options where government can get revenue to do development. Either taxation or borrowing. So we don't have an option. You need a tarmac road in Kisumu. You need a tarmac road here in Nairobi. I need a tarmac road in Nairobi, in Nandi. But what do? You have told me don't tax. So you have to borrow to run government. So in fact, in the management of economy and debt crisis and debt issues, you have to give it to the president. And that is why when we went to parliament, we attached the debt ceiling to GDP, the percentage of GDP. And I think looking at the debt, we must look it at all. I think the only issue.
What's our ratio currently?
I think we are approaching what we raised. It's more than 50. So we must rethink. I think the only thing I have said, and I have insisted, by the way, we must do audit of the current debt, because the internal and external debt. I know the concern of Kenya should not be the borrowing of debt per se. It should be where is it going. When you borrow, for example, 200 billion from World Bank, what are they attached to which projects? And I agree with them. Then we need to audit in this 10 trillion plus debt, the internal and external. Who are these? Okay. Because we could be paying maybe our, because we are raising almost close to 2 to 3 trillion, 2.something trillion in my correct. Okay. Under KRA, we are paying 1.2 trillion. The national budget we have in Kenya is 4 trillion. Yep. So if you are raising 1.2 trillion, you are paying 1.2 trillion to public debt, you remain with 800 billion. You have a national debt, a national budget of 4 trillion. So you have to borrow close to 3 trillion to finance the budget. And this budget must be financed for some of the programs, including payment of salaries of civil servants, development, and other agenda. So in terms of economy, in fact, the local economy, let's go to Unga. By the time President Uhuru left, Unga was only uploading 250.
Okay.
Now it has come around 100 shillings, and you no longer see people wearing sufurias in the streets. So, and I can tell you as a farmer, in conclusion, I can tell you as a farmer, and we celebrate the president.
Yes.
You are a farmer. I'm a farmer, because at least I know you are my neighbor and you are a farmer. So even in the sugar sector, you know, he has a farm of sugar.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yes. So we have even, in fact, the sugar sector now are earning bonus. Where I come from, and he knows, and everybody knows who is a farmer.
Yeah.
When the president was taking over, 50 kilos of fertilizer was 7,000 shillings. He has subsidized to 2,500 shillings. That is why the food security of this country is more certain. I can tell you, for the first time, we are likely to harvest 80 million bags of maize in the history of this country. It has never happened.
Okay.
You have seen even in Mwea, Nyatike, Awasi, there is rice. And that is why they were even objecting the gazettement of importation of tax duty-free rice. You have seen for the first time, City, and Mbuvi, for the first time, we are stable in terms of sugar in the country. Before, by this time, the Gazette notice should have come out, importation of duty-free sugar, because the demand of sugar in the country was too high. Now we are having even a better supply of sugar within the country. And I'm saying this because I come from sugar belt, sugar growing area, especially Nandi and Kisumu and other regions, even here in Kilifi. So looking at President William Ruto at 3, I can say without fear of contradiction, that the president has done 99.9% of the promises he's made in Kenyans. But there is still room for more, despite the challenges that we are facing. And that is why our opponents don't have an agenda.
You know, as you conclude, there are those who argue that if you do the audit that we're talking about of our debts, they argue that our debts are something, what we need to pay, and which they complain and say we shouldn't pay, and which are odious, are the equivalent of 2.2 trillion. So they're saying
it was 2.3 trillion.
Yes. I give them a discount.
Okay.
So if we do not pay that debt,
the better for us.
Not only that, this burden that we're speaking of will not exist. So we'll likely be able to live within the means.
Then
of
as
what
a
it is
country,
that
we should have a courage to audit that debt. And that's I've never changed. And you know, I was saying it could be state capture like the Guptas of South Africa. So I agree with you. The OAG has an obligation. By the way, I'm told in National Assembly there is a committee on debt. Are you aware? Being chaired by that should be their work. They should be demanding for the audit of the debt, so that tubainishe mbichi na mbivu, so that we are not leaving into media to guesswork like some tabloid newspapers they have reduced themselves to. Because now you you have that committee, and I think you should invite the chairman. What was the name? I think I'll recall the name. I'll let you look for him. I'll send you the list. I'll send you the membership on of that committee. Yes, on the debt committee and the chair, so that you invite and ask them, as a parliament, have you taken a position on the audit of the public debt? Because there are many stories. You saw former chair of budget saying these things. You saw the CS of National Treasury saying these things.
Were they valid? Are they valid?
No, they are not valid. I don't know when people, why do the people, when they leave the seats, they become clever?
Senator.
Too much end.
We can have this conversation on and on. What I'm just saying is, let the Committee on Public Debt in National Assembly that was set by the standing orders. Article 123 of the Constitution recognizes standing committees and the standing orders of Parliament, both nationals and the Senate. I want you to invite the committee chair or any member of public debt and ask them, can we get the correct position on the public debt, so that we are not left at the mercy of Tom, Dick and Harry, who can just analyze and say, we want. And by the way, National Treasury will tell you every time they submit the reports on public debt to that committee. So what have they done about it?
All right. Thank you very much, Senator, for coming to Radio Generation. Ni venye tu uko na haraka. Nilikuwa na maswali mengi. For example,
it's okay. I'll come back in 2 weeks time.
We will invite you.
On a light note, Mheshimiwa, 1 term ama 2 term?
2 term, of course. I thought by the time my conversation has been around 2 term. I'm a man of two term.
Yes, so that is Senator Cherargei.
Yes.
He is
and thank you for the invitation.
Karibu sana.
To the home of hard truths and bold insights.
Oh yes,
Radio Generation.
We shall always keep
it's
it hard.
Always a pleasure
and true.
Okay.
Karibu
Thank you.
sana.
God bless.
Traffic on Radio Generation. This is Radio Generation. In the beginning, there was morning radio.
I've never seen anything like this.
But now there is Radio Generation's The People's Breakfast. Curious and bold, getting facts from the shadows.
That's what it is.
Now, as the city wakes and secrets stir, a bright new voice shines. The People's Breakfast. Your morning, your voice, your journey.
You got it locked.
Good morning.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Welcome to the home of hard truths and bold insights. Radio Generation.
Radio Generation, the sound is fine. Pump it up, turn it high, all the time. Let the music move you, let's sway. Radio G's got your jam all day.
Radio Generation, the home of urban soul.
Radio Generation, the sound is fine. Pump it up, turn it high, all the time. Let the music move you, let's sway. Radio G's got your jam all day.
Radio Generation, the home of urban soul. In the beginning, there was morning radio.
I've never seen anything like this.
But now there is Radio Generation's The People's Breakfast. Curious and bold, getting facts from the shadows.
That's what it is.
Now, as the city wakes and secrets stir, a bright new voice shines. The People's Breakfast. Your morning, your voice, your journey.
You got it locked.
Good morning.
Good morning, my neighbor.
Welcome to the home of hard truths and bold insights. Radio Generation.
Welcome back. This is Radio Generation. The time right now is exactly 30 minutes past 9 o'clock and 30 to the top of the hour. My name is Mung'ala Mbuvi. We've just had a very interesting conversation here with City Muga and the senator from Nandi County. That is none other than Senator Cherargei. And what I like about some of the things he has said here, City, is the fact that he's very easy about some of these conversations that we usually have in our houses and our homes, and we get so passionate about them to a point whereby we even want to kill each other. But the senator here is just like, yo, look, even me and the CS, we meet, we have coffee, our children probably go to the same schools. On the weekends they meet up and they enjoy themselves. Lakini wewe kama Mkenya umekasirika huku unataka kuchinja mwenzako kwa sababu ya kitu alisema ama kwa sababu ya kitu alinsinuate. Yeah, so big shout out to and I hope Kenyans are learning, by the way. I honestly hope Kenyans are learning, because sisi ndio tunakasirikanga bwe on the ground, lakini kule hivyo kwingine these guys don't even feel nothing. Agri Momanya amekusalimia City, amesema pass my regards to mwalimu City. Mwalimu I hope umesalimika.
Nimesalimika sana.
Peregrine Falcon amesema how about Sakaja at Kampala University? India ni mbali, we understand. Oh yes, Falcon here is talking about that whole issue of university degrees. Yes. Sasa hii Sakaja atwezi dismiss because Uganda tu ni hapa kando. He probably crossed the border na akaenda darasani. And until we have other information, I'm afraid we shall go with that one. And like City has said, look, mtu alienda ameleta makarasi haya, let's judge them on what they're delivering. Hii ingine is neither here nor there. We also have math tutoring. Please ask the senator to stop being delusional. 5 years imewatosha. Okay, math tutoring. Asante sana for your comment. Dennis Makwara, in fact, we are supposed to reduce their terms to 4 years. And then we have Okot Morio Bongomin. Mario from Kitgum in Uganda. Hey, Sebo, thank you very much for joining us this particular morning. And we actually say we appreciate your time. Let us know what is burning in Uganda. Is Besije free? Is Bobby Wine okay? Is he still producing music? Because here in Kenya, we're only getting TBTs. That is Throwback Thursdays. Tuambie. But big shout out to Okot. Welcome to Radio Generation. We appreciate you. If you'd like to join our court and the rest, you can actually get us on rgk.co.ke. So if you're about to board a flight, and I'm certain some of these flights nowadays have got Wi-Fi, please make sure you tune in as you're heading to Dubai. Now, ukifika Dubai, endelea kusikiza the people's breakfast. City, 4 years, 5 years, 7 years. Do you think perhaps it's time we reconsider these time limits?
Is the time limit the most crucial thing that we need to be discussing in the country right now?
Definitely not.
So why is it an issue?
I feel like the time they have is sufficient. When you walikaa wakafikiria, and most countries anyway in the world give their leaders more or less the same 4, 5 hapo, and people still deliver with the time that's been given.
They do. See, the thing is, the assumption when you bring up such a discussion is that if more time is allocated, people will be able to do more. Not true.
Right.
Not true. Somebody who intends to perform will perform.
Regardless of the time.
They'll perform. Give them even 6 months, they'll perform in 6 months. Somebody who has other motives other than conducting the duties for which they were elected, we will also see. Now, a lot of the politics in this country involves not around doing, but talking about what you want to do.
Yeah.
And when performance...
Not doing the thing.
No. But when performance is questioned, you go back to factory settings, you talk.
Yeah.
Okay? And you explain. And when an opportunity arises again, you again talk and you explain.
Yes.
It is a constant talking, explaining, talking, explaining, talking, explaining.
Yeah. They finally let the senator go. They had held him hostage out here. But yeah, I feel like if you actually perform your duties, if you're a senator, you're a MCA, you're an MP, governor, whatever it is that you've been given, if you actually do what you were supposed to do, that already is campaign enough for itself.
Number one, you remember I told you, when you look at all these things you perform, people like you, and they like you for a reason. They'll re-elect you. They will. There are very few people who get elected unopposed. Very few. Literally everybody who gets elected has somebody who is vying for that same seat. And the reason why they are vying is because they've been told that they are suitable for that particular post or that particular job. So, when you have a repeat, somebody who's been elected more than once, like Senator Cherargei, it tells you there's something he understood about the place he comes from, the people he represent, and they resonate with him. That's why they keep electing him. It's not as though the other people who don't want to be elected. They are. See, at the end of the day, when you look at just the number of discussions we have regarding what some people consider to be a priority, if it's around a political discussion and it does not focus on how the lives of the Mwananchi is going to be better, forget that discussion, just leave it.
Yeah.
It's an academic discussion. So what is this thing that somebody is going to do in 2 years that they couldn't do in 5? We've had presidents who've had 10 years. If you can perform in 5 years, it means if you're given time, you'll keep performing. If you haven't performed, even if you're given 2 more years, you will still not perform. So,
yeah,
the discussion right now, we want to measure the suit according to the cloth we have. We have 5 years. We have resources. We have tasks. We have needs. What are we doing with the 5 years to meet the needs? If we are meeting the needs and it is clear that the needs are being met and we are falling short of it because of time, then the discussion of an additional 2 years becomes relevant. We haven't demonstrated effectively that we utilize the 5 years as we should. If we go into politicking mode, we have chosen to go into politicking mode. If we go into campaign mode, we have chosen. If the campaign mode is eating into the time, somebody could have engaged in some serious development discussions and work. It again is a choice. None of those arguments could lend themselves sufficiently to the argument that you need more time. None of them. Utilize what you have effectively and then demonstrate that having utilized it, a little more time would serve you better. We have not done that.
Yeah. And I actually know of MPs, governors, senators who've done well with the 5 years they were given.
Some have done extremely well, not just well.
Exactly. And that's why, actually, to be honest, they have just done what they were supposed to do.
Yes.
Yeah, with the 5 years they were given.
Yes.
But now, because we are used to others not performing, so when CT does what he's supposed to do, you're like, wow, City ni mnoma. City si mnoma. City amefanya tu ile kazi alikuwa anafaa kufanya.
Whatever you elected him to do, that's all he's doing.
Yes.
And you're comparing him with the others who don't do anything. Literally. Or what they do is next to nothing.
Yes.
So he seems to be... Now, the die is cast. It is clear that those who elected, those who've done nothing, you need to replace this. Clearly, it's not working.
Yeah.
Yes. You don't need to be told. You can just see. You thought they would serve a purpose. They're not serving that purpose. Get somebody else.
I think for the position of governor, we need to stop electing politicians.
I'm afraid we can't decide that for the people who elect them. They have to learn the hard way.
Well, of course, when I say we, I mean Kenyans.
No, I'm referring to Kenyans. We have to learn the hard way on how to elect people. And thereafter, having elected them, how to hold them to account. An electoral process without holding people to account, we will end up exactly where we are. Nothing will change. We have to be able to hold people to account.
IBC should be like what is this thing called? Like HR, human resources, whereby they first of all people apply. So you want to be the what is it called? The senator for Machakos County, for instance. Peana makatasi yako. So whoever gives their papers, they give. Then IBC sieves through and says, these are the, say, 5 best candidates that have presented themselves in Machakos County. And another maybe 5 in Kitui, another 5 in Nairobi, another 5 in Marsabit, and so on and so forth. So all the 47 counties are given, say, 5 individuals in each position, from the governor to MP to MCA to woman rep to all these elective positions. Then, once now the IBC has done that, we don't even need to do campaigns, because I feel like sometimes the loudest mouths are the ones that actually get to power. Yes, so because CT is louder than me, and CT has more vulgar than me, and he can say things about me that I probably am afraid to say about him. Now CT is the most populous person, and not populous but popular person, and CT is the one who will actually do what? Get to be elected, just because he made the loudest noise. And chances are CT doesn't even have the qualifications. So once they have gone through the 5 positions, they give us their CVs. And when I say CV, I mean like a proper CV, whereby we see CT held, for example, he was the CEO of Radio Generation. CT became the CEO of this. Or CT in his position, rose through the ranks, and this is what he achieved in the positions that he has held throughout his life. Then now, as citizens, and we don't want to hear CT's voice campaigning, because at the end of the day, when we need CT to work, we don't need him on a campaign trail. We don't want CT to come to the streets and start telling us, oh, you see, nitawajengea barabara, sijui nitawekea maji. No. When CT is given this position, after 5 years, because CT knows what the county needs through the conversations that the people have been having with their leaders. CT delivers, and if he doesn't deliver, either after 5 years, tumchuje, ama midterm, at exactly 2.5, the people decide once again whether they want CT to continue or we change it up. I feel like that way, if we get to that particular point, when we minus the politics from leadership, I feel like we shall actually achieve what we need to achieve.
Siku njema huonekana saa ngapi?
Asubuhi.
Basi ndio. You see, the assumption that people don't know what they're doing is a fallacy. People do. What is assumed as carelessness or an absence of knowledge is the consideration that the voter gives individuals who they want to represent them. It's an opportunity. They say, okay, let's give this person a chance. Some people think that you bribe your way into power. The people who dish out more money than you and never get elected.
Right.
People actually have a very clear idea of what they want and need. They may not express it, but they do. The turnover of elected leaders in this country is high. It tells you they know. And they will get rid of you.
Yeah.
Okay? Why it is that leaders don't seem to understand that beyond having the support of the political party, that the people who elected you are your people. They are exactly where you come from. Your kith and kin. Hawa ni watu wako literally. When they benefit and when you raise their profile economically and you ensure that the benefits are supposed to accrue to them, this burden that politicians complain about of people also asking for handout, you will automatically reduce it.
Yeah.
Because the very people for whom they are fighting, if they get to the point where they are now able to earn, they no longer need you really. They can look after their own families. That's why the discussion around the economies of the counties is something that I will keep bringing up, because it is absolutely necessary. If counties can become wealthy, so will their people. In fact, the wealth of a county is a reflection of the wealth of the people of that county. And the wealth of the counties has a direct relationship with the wealth of the nation. So if you can't focus on how counties can grow UNSU's revenue and become wealthy, then this story about the growth and GDP of the country, it is talk and nothing more. How politicians cannot understand that when your people are economically empowered, if I may use that word, and that there is growth of business and understanding of it, and people have more, you as a leader have a far greater chance of being elected again and again and again, because people relate you directly to their prosperity. On the other hand, when they don't see it, then they will not relate you to their prosperity, or they will relate you to their lack of prosperity, and they will kick you out. But more importantly, when you talk of security, security isn't the wall, isn't the guards. Security is when people have food to eat, people can afford to take their children to school, and they can plan for tomorrow because they have the resources. When they can't, then they will do things that ordinarily they would not even think of doing. So, when one talks of security, it isn't employing more policemen. No, it's not it. It is ensuring that the citizens of that particular nation feel safe. They feel there is a hope for tomorrow. There is a hope for the things they want to do. That's security.
Yep.
Now, if there's insecurity, it means the very things I'm saying are not there. That hope is gone. People can't see what they're going to do tomorrow. They can't meet basic needs. Then you have a growth in crime. Yes. And once that genie has left the bottle, putting it back in is problematic.
It's a wrap.
Yes. Yes, it is that way.
It is a wrap like moi. Okay, yeah. Again, as always, I agree. On the issue of electing professionals into the positions of governor, hizi zingine za senator, na sisemi tunaweza cheza nazo, but I feel like we need to put more emphasis on the position of governor and president, because again, we said, we've been saying here that, and we've agreed that indeed the president is a manager of managers. People, because he's not going to be everywhere doing everything. He says he consumes raw intelligence, for example. He's not the one who goes out there to collect this intelligence. There are people who collect intelligence on his behalf. Then they feed it to a central system where he actually can, has access to, and he sees, okay, so this is what is happening. So at the end of the day, if we're going to have a manager of managers who's actually ensuring that these people are performing very well, we need to have someone who is in who at least has got the wherewithal, yes, to actually ensure that this particular will moves into the direction that we expect it to move. Because even sometimes, as Kenyans, a few of us are privileged, of course, to have the education, to understand matters to do with governance, to understand matters to do with civic education and civic duty and our political duties as well. Lakini kuna watu wengi CT. Me, I have conversations with people in the streets, and sometimes I get frustrated when I meet someone and I ask them about politics in this country, and either they do not know or do not care, or you can tell they have a certain bias that is against the spirit of the constitution and the spirit of just being a people that is Kenya. And it really saddens me that even in a city where we think that we have access to information and data the way we do, there are some people who just refuse to think beyond their noses. Ukienda Ushago pia, same thing. After a function, whether it's a funeral or whatever it is, you have a conversation with people about politics, and you see their tribal inclinations, and that thing really breaks my heart. I'm not saying that we shouldn't love our tribal people or other people that we share a tribe with, but I just feel like we need to think beyond that, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who is in power. If you are not, if ugali kama unga ni 145 in Nairobi, it could be even expensive. It could be expensive at Ushago. It really pains me that we do not think beyond that scope. Na unapata mpaka mtu profesa amesoma, lakini bado anashindwa kufikiria zaidi hapo.
Do you know why people don't think beyond the scope you're talking about? Do you know why? Why do people identify themselves into the so-called tribal cocoons? Why? Why do you think they do that?
Why?
They feel secure. They feel that is where they're secure. That bond is broken when there's an understanding that has been there is also broken. The understanding has been when your person is in power, then you benefit. If they're not, then your benefits are minimal. The crafters of the 2010 Constitution hope to cure this.
So our president is Kale, for example. You know, I've met Kales who are poor, like properly poor.
But my friend, with every political dispensation that we've had,
some
of the poorest people come from the president's backyard.
Exactly. We had Uhuru, a Kikuyu president. I have met Kikuyus who are poor at our jiwezi.
No, don't go to Kikuyu. Just say Gatundu.
Yeah.
Where he comes
from. Exactly. Where he was actually MP for a while.
I'm trying to tell you, I began by saying the perception
is that once my person is in power.
Security. Perception. Now, they perceive it and it becomes their reality. But the truth of the matter is that there isn't sufficient evidence to support that reality. The county government was supposed to do that, and actually it does, because your governor is your person. Still, the position of that citizen still remains the same.
Yeah, true.
Okay? So now you're robbing your own people, your own kith and kin. Okay? For what purpose? So that you can have more cars, more houses, more what? Travel to other places of the world that other people travel to. Lease a jet. I mean, what for? You are simply shortening the tenure of whatever position you are elected to, because they will kick you out. People now know that the money you're spending is theirs. They now know that money is intended for education, for their children, for their health. No. And they can see. Now, the people around these fellows perpetuate this system. Whereas their role ought to be to ensure that it trickles down to the citizenry. When we had this discussion of this tiresome conversation people have about Singapore and Malaysia, I kept telling you, don't focus on the individual, the so-called vision bearer. This individual had a support system of people who had the same vision, same intent, and were willing to put in the same energy to achieve it. So when you find a president surrounded by people whose capacity and ability is suspect, hacking, nothing will move. And when it moves, it will be moving in the opposite direction to the one which is intended. And that's where now you find more and more words being uttered than actually things being done. And the problem with that is once the narrative sticks that nothing is being done, even when it's done, people will refuse to accept it's being done. They'll say it's not working. I think, but I can see it working. No, you are seeing your own things. Umelipwa. There is a point where reality mixes with perception, and the problem is usually people's reality will be their vision and their understanding. If I am suffering, I have to find someone to blame. And if a lot of people are blaming an individual, I will also join them, because I will feel at least now I am not alone in blaming this person. So we now know where our problem is. So our mind is removed away from the solutions that we could be looking for. We are now focused on blame. And if it becomes a song or a phrase or a chant, so much the better.
Yeah.
It's now easier. And yet, doesn't matter how often you chant it, the reality that you live doesn't change. Yet the energy should be spent on how do I change these circumstances. That's why you hear me saying that same energy, if it's brought to accounting and making sure people are accountable. My MCA, where I come from,
is
somebody I'm likely to know, just like I'm likely to know the chief. That's somebody I can go and see. Literally, go, walk to their house, and I will sit and we will talk. And I will ask questions. When I was chairman of the board of management of a local school, everybody knew I was chairman of that board.
Yeah.
They know where I live. They know where my family lives. They know. And they are as welcome as everybody else to come and see me when they want to see me. If they know I'm around, they will come. And they know they'll be welcome. I'm simply trying to say the strength that the citizens have to ensure that they get the services they deserve, they don't utilize it. They burn that energy on things which don't actually help their cause. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Hey. I usually say we shall get to a point where in another 20 years, we shall be in a better place to choose better governance for ourselves.
Why 20 years, Paul?
It was just one of those things because, look, right now there's so much intermarrying, right? We are literally, for lack of a better word, we are the link between, or rather not the link, but the difference between a Kamba and a Luo, for example, is getting to a point whereby it's probably going to be erased.
Nothing of that sort will happen, but go on.
Let me finish. So, because if I marry a Luo lady and we have a child together, that child is both Kamba and Luo. Right?
If it is you who is a Kamba, that child is a Kamba.
Forget the traditional aspect of where the child will carry my name and probably will be recognized because of the name on their ID will be Mbuvi. So what Mbuvi ni Mkamba.
Yes.
But when it comes to how they're going to behave in society, how they're going to integrate with the rest of society, they're not going to integrate on the level of Mimi ni Mkamba, wewe ni Mjaluo.
You know,
it's going to be on the level of wewe ni Mkenya mwenzangu. So we will achieve that in another 20 years, in my opinion.
No, Paul, we've already achieved it.
No, we haven't.
Yes, we have.
Oh, no, we haven't.
You see, Paul, there is a notion that when you're a Kamba and a Maluo, it's a bad thing. And I'm saying it is not. In fact, you should be a Kamba. In fact, I need to feel encouraged to speak Kikamba.
Right.
It is a good thing when you marry a Luo. It is a good thing if I marry a Kamba. You know why? I then broaden my horizon and I get to know more than I knew. The reason why these tribal issues existed was because we didn't mix. Everybody was where they were born, where they came from. Urbanization and the development of the nation as we have it has made it possible. But it was deliberate at independence. Deliberate in that civil servants were posted to anywhere other than where they came from. When you went to a college or you went to university, you were posted anywhere other than where you came from. If it is known I come from place Moroni, I'll be posted to Kiambu. So that I get to know how those people live. And that happened for the longest time. The Moi era idea of district focus, which was a good thing because that was an attempt at devolution. Unfortunately, for many people, it entrenched tribalism because it was like going back to your roots. But if you look at it, they were trying to devolve resources.
Yes.
And it's at the district level under the district commissioner, that particular point in time. I'm saying it has already happened because people marry because that is the person they want to marry. Where they come from is a detail.
Right.
Okay. And I'm saying it is happening because if you live in an urban setting, the people who you live amongst are not people who speak your language anyway. The people you work with are not people who speak your language anyway. Maybe one or two would do, but they don't.
Yes.
This mix and match is already happening. That's why I'm telling you it is happening. Okay? The traditions that were tribal, that were born out of ignorance and fear are diminishing. The tribe, in my opinion, must remain. It is important. That identity is useful because it offers diversity. Okay? There'll be points at which communities will meet and understand each other. But that there's diversity. When there's diversity and it's distinct and people live with it, it means we are a society who have seriously high tolerance. And we have a seriously high capacity to understand people who may have certain differences from us. Homogeneity doesn't necessarily mean I have to look like you and speak your language. It just means we can have common goals, we have common interests, and we get along as a result of that.
Lakini sasa kwa ground city vitu zinakaa hivyo kweli?
Believe me, if they didn't,
kwa ground,
I'm saying they do.
Okay.
Our politics is what makes the polarization what it is.
So then, and that's what I was heading to. Why then do they find it very easy and even possible, for that matter, to whip up those emotions towards and during the election?
You're whipping up the emotions of people who have nothing, who are poor, dirt poor, and who still believe that your leadership will bring them help. A person who's poor may be intelligent, but the latitude and the capacity of your thinking is usually around survival. None of these esoteric ideas of the things we're discussing here. That individual forms a very large portion of our population. And that is the individual that you see in the streets. That's the individual you find at rallies. That's the individual you find perpetrating crime. That's that individual. The other individual does all these things, but they do it with a pen and paper and a computer. But they do the same thing.
Yeah.
Now, I'm saying this. Anyone who tells you that because someone speaks a different language is a bad thing, it is a good thing. It is an extremely good thing.
Yeah.
Do you know why this country, you know why people are so unique? Psychologists will tell you that individuals who can speak more than one language will have a far more advanced brain capacity. You can Google it.
Yeah.
Talk to your phone later on and it will tell you that an average Kenyan speaks 3 languages.
Right.
3. Here to the average.
Swahili, and then Lugha ya Mama.
3. When they throw in French, now it's 4. When they throw in Germany, now it's like that.
J'en transfère l'équipe.
But yes, merci beaucoup. But we start with 3.
Yes.
When most of the fellows that we find across the world, 1.
Yeah.
So we are ahead. We are way ahead.
I totally agree.
So now these fellows are trying to tell you to be like them, and I'm saying no. No. I am going to try and learn even the other languages that I didn't grow up knowing. It's important for me.
Yeah.
Don't limit your child's when you marry across your community, your children are fortunate. Let them learn all those languages.
Yeah. But the reason I said 20 years is because in 20 years' time, there is not first of all, the politicians who are tribal, we shall have new folks who don't care about tribe. And then the few who will remain who are still tribal, they won't be able to tell you, venye Wakikuyu wamefanya na Wajaluo hiyo itakuwa imeisha.
That's magic and wishful thinking.
It's not magic.
It is magic thinking.
It's not magic thinking. Itafanyika.
It's pie in the sky thinking. It won't happen. People thought Nazism and all these things had ended. You see a resurgence of it. It's called nationalism.
Yeah.
And one thought that because the world has moved on and these countries are advanced, it will move. No. Going back to factory settings is very easy.
Yep.
Very easy. We have a far better system than those people do.
Yep.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, City Muga, for your contribution. This is where we come to the end as far as the breakfast show is concerned, the People's Breakfast. See you tomorrow, very bright and early. That's exactly at 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Thank you to our guest, that is Senator Cherargei, for coming through. Tomorrow morning is another opportunity to make this world a better place. But for now, from City and myself, hasta la vista.
Radio generation, the